Warning, Arch's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Alright, I'm coming. Let's shut this off. Bring this up. Hey, everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Let me just check the audio. That looks about right. Move this out of the way a little bit. Now I can take this off. You're going to hear a little bit of noise in the background. I just want to run the air conditioner a little bit longer. And we'll show you guys what I've been up to and what's going on. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just see what my friend Liz said. She says, Liv had hers. Yeah, June 18th. And yes, out with mom. Nice. Nice. Yeah, happy birthday to her. And yeah, I've been trying to catch up slowly with everybody. Let's see. Uncle Mark says, welcome back, Arch. Hope you're doing well. Yep. Henry says, evening, Arch. Hope all's well. Hope all's well with everybody there. Robert says, glad you're back, Archie. And Makeup and P-Lady. Yeah, we probably get to a little bit of P-Lady. Mark says, he's like, I don't know if it's a thou making spring videos are cool. Never knew that's how they did it until I saw some of these. Yeah, I love like mass machining of certain things, especially like that. That's really useful in the springtime too. It's a spring video for the spring. Yeah, those making springs. Yeah, Mark says audio is fine. Excellent, excellent. I want to, whilst I'm here, I'm gonna pop grab a drink and pop some Alka-Seltzer in this water. I have a headache. I think I'm fighting something off. But I've been so busy. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. All right. Let me get one of these in there. And I'm going to go turn that AC off now. I feel it's like it's getting a little cold. Stand by. Hold on. Am I connected to anything? No, I'm wire free. Might have to go to P-Lady soon because I think I gotta go. So yeah, I've been really busy. Well, I'm sure everybody is, right? It's the summer, and it really is just starting to settle in. And I think a lot of us went through that major heat wave, right? Because we're in the 90s here, and we started our summer. It was kind of it was okay, late spring, what have you. It was about a month or so ago. Yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can see that. I just love it. I don't take it that often, but I took some of this last night, one of them. I'm like, yeah, that feels better. There's Robert AZ. Let's see, summer, spring, not summer breeze. Yeah, no, what was the other one? If Brett was here, he would remember. It was the summer grease. Yeah. Yeah, that was from like last year. Hey, Robbie says hello. He goes, I'm always in major heat wave. Yeah, he's in AZ, Arizona. Not really. You're not always in major heat wave. You guys get a bit of a break. You just don't have snow and cold, just maybe at night. But most of us are indoors. So, yeah, we had that major heat wave. And I'll show you guys in a little bit. I'll show you what I've been up to. But I had that air conditioner that I put in many, many years ago. I got this one here. So I had to clean it. I had to clean all the air conditioners all around the house, carry them down, bring them out, get them all cleaned up, bring them all the way up through the stairs, set them all up. That was several days. And then after I got that done, we had an issue. I have an old Hardwick stove, gas-powered stove, natural gas, and it works great. It's 36-inch, so to replace it would be expensive. But I love the stove, but it got dirty, and it's old, like it's really old, and it got really dirty, and some of the dirt had built up in the back, and you could see like on a lot of these stoves where the burner is, there's a little door, and you can adjust this little door, and what it does is it allows you to adjust how much air is coming in. and you can sweeten up the flame and everything, get that nice blue flame. I guess some grease or whatever got down on it, and it started to clog up, and then it started to blow soot. And it was blowing soot for a while, but, I was busy with my Apollo. He was, really struggling towards the end of his life, and everything else that was going on. And then suddenly the cats show up, and so we have 4 cats, and Marley was pregnant, and she gave birth, and all of that, whatever. So I got the stove outside, and I'm like, all right, why don't we just put it on this little piece of concrete right there instead of moving it all around? I brought out, I have some of those nice plastic pallets, and I brought out a couple of those. I kind of took it apart a little bit, got in there with the Super Clean. Shout out to Super Clean. I didn't film any of it. It was pouring. It was raining all day. And at first I was like cleaning it and whatever, and I'm trying to do my thing. And I'm like, I am just getting too wet. This is completely unacceptable. So I put my Gorton's Fisherman rain gear on, and I spent the day out there with this thing, cleaning it, because once it really starts to soot up, if you guys may know, that's carbon black. I mean, that is the black of black, right? That's what you make black paint. And it's in everything, and it doesn't just come straight off, and you have to wash it, but you need a degreaser or something like Super Clean. And I'm running pipe, reamers through and brushes, and I'm letting it sit. Meanwhile, the dog's a mess, right? And it just turned a nightmare. And that was heavy, getting it in and out and doing all that out in the rain. Next day, okay, my poor dog, he gets up and he's having issues. He's been having nothing but issues. He got infected, and then he got infected with maggots and fly larvae and God knows what else. We had the vet down about a couple of weeks earlier, and she ran some blood tests. My daughter didn't mention it to me, but they saw something possibly in the blood. They wanted to reconfirm it. We did a few things to him, checked him out. He was just really struggling. But I remember I was so exhausted, like the next morning, I hear all this kind of, the girls are ruffling downstairs, and I could hear that they're upset. They tried to be quiet. What happened was they bloomed. And he literally gave birth to thousands of maggots. They were underneath him. They were underneath his bedding. The flies were in the house, right? I come down, I'm like, oh, crap, this is bad, right? So they get all that cleaned up. I try to get the dog outside. We try to wash him. We call the vet, kind of dial in with the vet. I showed my sister. She's like, there's nothing you can do. Just call the vet. There's nothing you can do. And the next morning it happened again, and the vet was on the way. And that night I was up with him till like 4 a.m, and he was just looking at me like that look, like help me or put me down. And we made the decision to put him down. So she came. He dumped more maggots on the floor underneath him the next morning. It was just so brutal, and it was just so hard to see him go. But we were struggling with him for 2 years, and so I was already tired. We brought him out. We took our time. We got him outside. We made him comfortable. We got him about halfway there, and I said, I don't want him any closer because I'm going to go dig his grave, and I don't want the damn dog seeing his grave. Watch me dig his grave. So I made a nice grave for him. We put him, we put him down, and we put him in one of his nice blankies, and we picked some flowers, and I made a nice rectangular grave. You got to go deep. He's a big animal, so I had to dig a big hole and then cover them all up. Everybody's been sad. And then we got the cats running around like crazy. So we're actually, I think one of them's going in to be fixed on Monday, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with that. So one of the little cats, the last one out the gate, they want to give him away, and I'm like, I think it's too soon for me. I kind of like him, and I'm just not happy with breaking up the band, right? Because they're like a band of brothers and sisters, and they all run around together and do shit, and I feel bad for him because he's a little bit of the runt of the litter, and he is a little bit more removed from the others. He doesn't play with them as much. He doesn't, snuggle with his mom as much. He just doesn't he seems to get left out. I'm like, oh, great. Now you're going to kick the thing out, and you're going to give him away to some old lady that we don't even know. And I'm just not happy. I don't want to know about any of this, but you get, how you get pulled in. You get pulled into stuff. So it's been rough. And then all of this customer stuff, my own projects, trying to clean everything up. And everything is just, really just a mess. Doing the summertime stuff, right? You have all these chores and customers, and a lot of it's heavy lifting and getting in deep and rearranging stuff, some of which I'll show you in a little bit. But I'm 61. I get tired, right, at some point. And with the diabetes, eventually I just run out of energy. So I would take a couple of days off or half a day late start. So Big Mike's been over and he knows. He'll tell you, right? He's like, when you get up, which is like 12, right? When I get started, I don't get up at 12, but like last night, I was up brainstorming and doing stuff till like 4 in the morning or whatever, because it's quiet. And then, nobody's ringing the phone and can you fix this? No, I don't want to fix that. So you got some hokey idea. I don't want to fix that. So we're going to go through some of that in a little bit. I guess I'll start, since I covered all of that. So poor doggy, goodbye to my good friend, and I felt bad. What was the hardest part of it was watching my daughter, because that was really her dog. And she had to go through that. And she doesn't really remember the other dogs as much, but she knows that one. So it's always hard whenever you go through stuff like that. So I just got overwhelmed. I'm like, I just need to hunker down, take care of everything. And then we had the heat wave. So getting back to what I started to say initially was I got this Fetters air conditioner, which was in the garage. And I had hired a nurse for a little while to help me, take care of my daughter and everything. And we worked out a deal. She's like, if you install my dishwasher, I'll give you this nice Fetters. The problem is it was a little too small. And the other problem is that it's underneath the big, gigantic, what used to be a majestic pine tree, but shit just keeps falling off of it. And all of the pine needles, one by one, slide into the venting on the back and jam it up. And there's really no way to get that out. And I can't just pull it out of the sleeve. It's in the wall, but it's in a sleeve. And, I need help with stuff like that, especially a number of years ago when I could barely even walk, let alone pull a heavy air conditioner out of a wall sleeve or carry them around up and down the stairs and clean them or dig a gigantic hole or drag out some kind of gigantic, just because I can do it now doesn't mean I should be doing it every day, right? So anyway, I'm looking at this thing and like, it's not, like last year, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get another year out of it. And this year, I went into it going, well, maybe I'll get another year out of it. I turned it on, and it never really got cool. And then we got the heat wave. So I'm working in here, right? And I got to tell you, fellas, it can get hotter in here than outside with the roof. It is mostly insulated, but with all the windows and everything, but it's in the direct sun all day. And if I walk in and out that back door, there's like a heat curtain that comes down. So a lot of my fans had burned out. That air conditioner burned out. My big pedestal fan that's in the garage, it had burned out a couple of years ago. I'm like, shit going down quick. So I had these air conditioners in big ones, like 20,000, 2030 BTU, that my friend Steven's father, Stan, God rest his soul, had given me many years ago. So I put them away in the basement. And I'm like, I got to put this thing in. This is it. This is the first heat wave. I've got at least 2, maybe 3 months of more heat and humidity and whatever. I need these things in. So we dug it out and shout out to contractor Mike. He came over and gave me a hand with some stuff, found some cool stuff. I did a pro bono job for him because he found some cool gear. Maybe I'll show you a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. So I get through all of that, right? And he and I are carrying this monstrosity out of the basement. We brought the two out. One was a 120, and the other one was a 240 volter. And I forget which one of which. I think the Panasonic is the one that's in there. It's like 240. And he was struggling, right? He's strong. He's like 40, and he's lawn contractor. He's good muscular. I had to hold it for a little while because he had a hard time getting over the step. Going backwards is hard. So I just had to lock in. And by the time I got all that done, I was like, I went through this whole thing. This is weeks and weeks. And finally I'm like, I need bed rest. Like I'm going to bed. I'm getting up to eat and hang out. And then I'm going back to bed. And then I just, a little bit at a time, I've been trying to come back to life. I haven't been putting really videos out except for some easy footage that I already grabbed. I haven't been doing lives. Like, I'm done. I'm going to sit here, put my feet up on my chair, right? I was trying to catch up. I caught up with Rob. He's on, a couple other people, just a little bit to catch up a little bit here and there. Because the rest of the time, I'm like, you know what? I need to sit down, go lay down, chill, watch some YouTube, watch the other fool, watch you Watch you other fools on YouTube doing YouTube, right? Instead of me. So, yeah, so it's just been crazy. Not even half of it. But I got a lot done. A lot done. So now I'm able to turn this air conditioner off for a little while, which makes it a little bit better to like record in here or whatever. The other one's on in the other room. And this one doesn't have economizer mode. The other one does. So it'll shut on and off, but you won't hear it. I got a little tiny fan on the floor. It's nice. It's about 75 and humid. It drizzled a little bit. I watered today. I don't know if you guys have been getting that humidity, but I know all that water around the country in certain areas. Here it gets really humid. Let me see what you guys are doing. Here, let me move this over to here. Hold on. Let me move this over here. So, but I've been taking the batches. I almost did a live show and I was like, and I took a nap and I woke up and it was like 8. I'm like, oh, jeez, it's just, there's no way. I don't have time to put my makeup on or anything. Let me see. Let me go pop this out, right? I haven't done this in a while. Pop that out. Let it do its thing. And then move it to here. And then I go, what do I do? Then you go split screen, move that over, and now we can kind of all see it. Not that that really matters, but, it's just something I like to do. Let's see. I hope we're all doing well. Uncle Mark making springs. What he was fine. Summer spring, not summer breeze. Yeah. Robert says, hello, I'm always heat wave. Dilly Dilly, yes, Brett. Brett, I saw it. Brett hit me up. I didn't even answer him. He's like, no live? I'm sitting here, and I saw a Facebook thing, and I'm like, no live? And I'm like, no, Brett. No. It's just been one thing after another. He goes, 95 is a bit of a break for us, AZ goes. Yeah, 95. Yeah, we were in the 90s a couple of weeks ago. Lately, we've been in the 80s and humid. How are you guys doing? Let me know what your temps are. Malice says, got to go to AutoZone to get some high grit sandpaper and buffing compound to get the headlight back again, clear looking, a Craftsman tractor. Nice. Put some clear on it, too, when you're done. Use the good clear. I like to use the Rust-Oleum high temp clear. It's not ultra high temp. It's like 600 degrees or something like that. That's like my universal clear. You can use the automotive clear. That's pretty good too. But the high temp is also very much, after it dries, or I should say cure for a week or two, it's like impervious to gasoline and oil. So it's kind of not impervious right away. It'll resist it, but there's no hardeners in these sprays in the can unless you buy something more professional with the hardener in it and you crack it. But once you use it, that's it. You better use it up because you just put the hardener in. Those get hard because they're cured, but the other stuff takes a while to actually cure. And it'll get hard. That's what she said. That's what I said. Hey Tim, this is Tim. He goes, warm but humid and essential tea, dying out from the wet week, okay, or drying out rather from the wet week after the 4th. Yeah, the 4th was cool. Plus, one of the weekends was the 4th weekend, so I was like, well, actually, we just hung out and chilled. Curl is about an hour and a half southwest of us. Devastation and destruction along the Guadalupe River. Yeah, that was bad. Is bad still. Sorry for your loss. Yeah. No, the fur baby. Yeah, well, it's not a fur baby. That was Apollo, the big dog. He was hairy and furry. Big dog. Big dog. You see him in some of the videos. I haven't done any real shots of the cats. Mostly because, and some of you may know, I know my friend Rob, this is an iPhone, and this is mostly what I carry around with me. I don't actually carry it around. Actually, I don't carry any phone around me. I should use this, which is, the Samsung, right? Try to deal with the way they manage pictures and videos on a Microsoft operating system, old, kind of like more old school. It's just a nightmare. I mean, I've got many, many terabytes of videos and pics. But as soon as I plug this in and I try to deal with what's in here, which Satan apparently has gotten to and ruined it and corrupted it and destroyed it. I'm like, I don't even want to. If I'm not uploading it to something like YouTube or sending it to a customer or whatever, I'm like, I don't like taking pictures on this thing because I can't really just bring it right into here. Everything's all messed up. You can't catalog it properly. They have Apple is like all unto its own ecosystem. And the only reason I have this is because my daughter wanted it years ago. So I got it for her. And then when I was really broke and I didn't even have a phone, at some point she bought a new phone and gave me this back. So, yeah, it's just crazy. You know, Malice goes, sorry if you log again. AZ says, good news. Her chipster, good news here. Chipster was adopted. Oh, Rob had an issue with a dog he picked up. You know, brief story is it just had an issue, and then he's got another dog and had an issue. We brought it back to the pound. And fortunately, you know, someone else will have it. And I get it. It's the same thing with the little cat that they're probably going to get rid of. But they're like, Dad, 3 cats are enough. Says who? Now, all of a sudden, I've never been able to have cats. That could be also why I'm feeling the way I am. Because, I mean, Rob will tell you, years ago, 1 cat could just about put me in a hospital. Now there's 4. So, I don't know. It's between that, the heat, you know, the dust. I've been cleaning up a lot in here and vacuuming because it got really dirty because, you know, the wind blows in, spider webs everywhere, spiders hanging down, bugs, dead flies all over, dust and filth. And I've been working on the 2 buildings and all that. And it's kind of nice to be able to close it up and not constantly have that. Although I do like having the windows open. But there's no screens. And if you open up the door back there, and Big Mike even noticed it today, he goes, he comes through and he comes over there and he goes, wow, it's like almost 10 degrees cooler back there. I said, yeah, but windier. And then all of the shit blows right in. You know, and if I open up these windows to get the cross flow, all of the crap just blows right in. And I'm not putting a screen door up back there. I don't have the money, number one. And number two, if it's open, it's because I'm in and out of it. And I worked a job one time with Arthur. We were working this job for a friend, but his parents, you know, his parents' house. And they were like neurotic. And this has happened also before. So I'm moving materials in and out of the house. And I'm also trying to clean up. And I'm you know, ripped down the bathroom and you got stuff with nails and garbage. And I told them, they knew it. They could see me going through the kitchen, going out to the back by the garage, making the pile, getting it ready. I'm in and out the screen door. So what do? They don't want the bugs in. So what do? As I'm in and out, I'm like, I'm trying to hold this up. You think I'm going to I just want the screen door open. Can you leave it open? No, they closed it on me. I walked right through it. I'm like, as they came through, I'm like, to go to get more. I come back the other way. I'm trying to hold on to everything. The glare, I couldn't see anything. I went, whoop. I'm like, why is it closed? Oh my God. It's so hard sometimes dealing with consumers and homeowners. I mean, like, for all my life, I've had to deal with like people. It's another thing. I just wanted to get away from people more recently, and I love people and all. But like at some point, people, I did enjoy. There were a couple of jobs. I think Rob worked for a little while where we worked for. I think it was Avco. For the most part, there were a couple of jobs that we had. We were in a corner in the back somewhere. You could put the radio on, do your thing, or put your headphones on, and you only had to talk to people a couple of times every day, right? If you didn't really want to talk, nobody would bother you. You didn't have to deal with customers, and you could just sit and do your thing, and it was peopleless, largely. You know, there's something to be said for that. So, like, I also needed a break from the peopling of the world out there. No offense, just I think we all go through that at some point. You know, I'm like, oh, so nice. Yeah, I went right through the door, and it wasn't the first time that it happened to me. I said, can't you see I'm working here? No, I don't care. A bug. And I had to fix it. Oh, God. Yep. So let's see what else is RV laws. Get to Chipster. Tim Tweet working on neighbor's string trimmers. All 3 needed fuel lines, fresh fuel, mix, and tune-ups. Oh, I got something for that. Mark D says, welcome back. Uncle Mark says, our SUV AC has just died too. Yeah. Oh, brutal. Oh, that was the other thing too. I had to fill and recharge and test everybody's ACs. Right, here we go. I don't get paid for that. And even if I asked them, can you leave me a can or two for myself, right? Oh, it's expensive. Oh God. Everybody see what I mean? Everybody aggravates me. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all three new fuel lines, tune up. Mark, he says, yeah, it's horrible. Yeah, and you need it now, right? But the only time you can really check your AC and everything is as it gets warmer or really hot. I have the equipment and vacuum. I'll get going soon. I just don't like doing it. Yeah, I just need more time and experience doing it. Bottom line is, if it depends upon how it died, right? If the pump is dead and you got to replace the pump, you got to pull it down. Pull it down for as long as you can. Half a day. Go do something else, right? Let it all boil off. Get the junk out. If you can find wherever the filter is in the accumulator, you can replace that. Get rid of it. And as long as you don't pee out all the oil, usually you can just put a little oil in the pump and connect everything and then pull it down and introduce to the low side. It's pretty simple, but the pump's usually expensive and sometimes they're hard to get to. I'll never forget, I was telling somebody this story. I think I was telling my daughter the story. We were working. It was on one of my friend Arthur's, either the Impala or the Camaro or whatever. We were all very young. And that was the old R12 system with the big Harrison pumps. And I went over there one day. I'm like, what are you doing, Arthur? I see you fixing up your AC. He's like, yeah, I'm putting in lots of R12, lots of it. I'm like, how much are you putting in? How do you know how much to put in? Oh, more must be better. And then while we're standing there, it sounded like a gunshot went off with a jet engine behind it, right? Boom, really loud. And then look over because we're startled and there's this spray coming out. So on the top of those pumps is one of those, check valves, one of those high pressure blow off valves in case the system goes haywire and the pressure goes to the roof. His attitude was Mo better, right? Mo is Mo better. No, nothing really bad happened. And then when it stopped peeing out, we looked at each other like, well, I guess it's full now. Yeah. Should we take any out? Even with the manifolds and everything, you're supposed to check like superheat and all that. You go get a chart, go look up online. It'll give you an idea of what you need for each system and about what the pressure should be, low and high. You can get real granular with it, but generally if you're in the safe zone. But that scared the crap out of us, I have to tell you. We thought it blew up. We were like, whoa, you all right? Any pieces missing? Any blood? Britt goes, Arch, my John Deere JX75 came out great. Yeah, I saw that. Did you guys sell it yet? I had a bunch of those old John Deeres here, but not that one. That's the nicer one. I decided to stop taking them in, the more standard ones, because the parts got almost impossible to get. So if they came in good shape and they, I haven't seen one here in a long time, but if it came in good shape and I could fix it with standard stuff, but what I started noticing was the stuff that is more like esoteric, it's more like to that model. I'm like, ooh, I don't want to fool with it, right? Because what am I going to do with it? I don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy it for parts. I don't want to look at it. But that comes from back in the day, the end of the days of when we were still, us, they, whatever, the industry was still cranking out some interesting shit. You had options. And don't get me started because my opinion on the industry now, which is absolutely crap. By the way, did you guys see? I didn't have a chance to comment. Did you see? Right, Ken's small engine, right? That stupid pressure washer. You couldn't get the plug with the socket out because the fin was in the way, right? And some people were like, well, how'd they even get the plug in? Magic, fellas, magic. Little Chinese fingers from little Chinese children sticking with little midget sockets because this is what's going on now. I would have just ground that right out. I think probably to do a clean job. Actually, I would have went in there if I could fit my little snippers or little diagonal cutters. I just would have went in there and went, done, out, next one, done, next one, because it's crap. I wouldn't have spent any time fooling. I would never butcher a tool, right, for something that's already butchered, right? That's a piece of shit, like that motor. Like that fin was in the way. Worst case is I would have just taken the muffler off. There's no gasket. Just be careful because you don't know if you're going to strip the screws out. And I just would have reached in there, or even better, I might have snapped the plug to the side, right? Break the porcelain, leave the one end in so I don't get any crap in the motor, and just take a drift and go, boom, boom, you're done, blow it, pull the plug out, and then now nobody has any problems, right? What junk. Not that stuff didn't happen years ago, but at least for the most part, it was made here and most of it was really good. This stuff is just, you look at that and like some of the people said, like, how'd they even get the plug in? I don't really know. Some piece of crap, thin wall, automatic, I don't know, robot AI thing came down the line and somehow magically got the plug in there. Maybe they installed the plug onto the head and then put the head on. I don't know. I would not be surprised that that's the protocol, right? While it's off, somehow it gets put on, then everything gets put on together. We don't know the assembly routine in those manufacturing plants. They do stuff like that, right? It's nothing really wrong with it, I suppose, but yeah. I mean, we assume that somebody comes along and puts the plug in later. I wouldn't assume that. Cool 90 here, Mater says, yeah, nice, Mater. Nice. He goes, I saw Mater doing some stuff. I was watching some of this stuff the other day. I generally don't comment unless I'm like sitting up. Because like I told you guys, sometimes when I listen to Mater's show, when I go on Mater's live, what I'll do is I'll find it on my monitors here, on my computer. I'm like, oh, Mater's up. And then I'll kind of watch him and I'll mute it. And then I go on the show on this thing so I can text. This way I can sit like this and maybe even, check on other stuff. And if I want to be annoying and text, I can just sit here and do that. And I can put it down and I can see everything on the monitors, because I'm in relaxation mode. Britt goes, no, still got it. It went up for sale. Yes. Oh, how much you asking for it, if you don't mind me asking, Brett? Hey, it is Bravo. Top of the evening, gents. Arch, you're still alive. What the fuck? Take a vacation? Well, you'll have to rewind later because I'm not going to put everybody through it. So we started at like exactly 8:30. So if you get a chance, if you want to know, you can hear everything I was up to. Or just ignore me for the next half hour, right? And just go back and just rewind the live, right? That's an option. Or just don't even bother, right? It doesn't matter. Oh, wow, Brett, 359. Wow. Mater is the Maytag. Yeah, I have a video that I want to put out from some work I did on my my washing machine. And I did it like 2-3 years ago now. And I'm like, I really should put that out. It was a quick and easy pump fix. Similar to what Mater's going through. Like the stuff gets all stuck and you can't get it out. It was essentially, but I have the nice LG front loaders and I've had them for a long time now. It just got overwhelmed. So I took it all apart and polished it out a little bit. It's plastic, but it had like this green, gooey residue caking in it, along with the hair. Because my ex will wash the dog blankets. I think she told me she just actually finished washing the last of the blankets. Some we had to throw out. I mean, they were all poop fouled and horrible. Yeah, that's a lot of money, but it does have that nice motor on it, right? Was it the Cowie? That's kind of rare, That's mucho high end. That's pretty rare. But I don't know if you'll get $359 for it. But if you're flexible, But if it's on your phone, show the pic I sent you. Yeah. It should still be there. I don't know if they'll see it, but like I said, I can't bring it into the computer because it's too much of a pain in the ass. That's why I haven't shown anybody cats. I'll get pictures. I got to take pictures of, I call them gray. I don't have names really for anything yet. They do, but it just confuses me. I just call it female, gray, which is kind of gray, Blackie, and Molly is the mom. Let's see. This is going, because my family's complaining. Well, I'm saying you can't learn. She goes, when When has John ever called any of the animals by its actual name? Yeah, that's a nice motor. That's a lot of money, though, bro. But that is nice. Much better. You see the pieces of crap in the background, fellas? Right? The junk in the background. Right? Crap mowers, except this one in the foreground. That's a real mower. What deck is that? Is that the aluminum deck? Is that a push? Is it just a push? Yeah, it's got a nice motor on it. Looks like the aluminum deck. It's in nice shape. You see. Mark says, we had a 1963 Inglis Maytag washing machine that we bought for $75 back in the 1990s. Was still running when we sold our place. Wow, good washing machine. I know the ones my parents had. I want them back. Like, I want that. And he goes, Brett says, we may let it go for less if they, cash. And Roxy is doing well. Good. Robert says, I went to Tractor Supply and bought 3 quarts of Kohler 1030 synthetic oil at $14.99 a quart. Plus the oil filter. It was $14.99. Yeah, that's expensive. It is good oil. He goes, yes, aluminum 5-speed self-propelled blade and clutch. Ooh, yeah, the blade and clutch. Yeah, I wonder what you could get for that in my market. I have to think about that. And it does have nice features, but I don't know. Not everybody wants features, and everybody's broke up here, and everything's really expensive. Although, fella, because I did release like another just a quickie, easy Honda video and the Snapper video, which did well. Well, let's see what Big Mike says. Wait. And he goes, when they made stuff to last, I went to Tractor Supply and paid $80 a tire. Oh my God, they were $80? Holy shit. Yeah, I'll show you them in a bit. So, all of the Snapper videos pretty much do well, for the most part. I like the Snapper, and I just needed something. I have some very complicated videos to go through and release at some point. I don't have the head for it. So I'm like, all right, I'll just do the Snapper. That's fun. I enjoy it. It needed to be done anyway. People like it. It did well, for me when I initially released. But I did the Honda because I just love my Honda, and I just put videos on a Honda. And eventually all my Honda videos do well because people like Hondas. And a couple of people have commented more recently on some of the different videos. And one of the fellows said, because my Honda has the clutch, right? And rear wheel drive with the throttle and the ground speed lever and control. But he did say, he goes, I wish I got the one, with the blade clutch. He goes, I'm sorry I didn't. I said, well, they're all good, but yeah, it is. But it's more money. It's significantly more money on the Honda mower. And I think I threw one of them out, stupidly. Back in the day, he says it was over $1,000. Yeah, I know. The Kawasaki engine tune-up stuff is more expensive than the Kohler tune-up stuff. Yeah, but it is actually a better motor. Kohler motors for the mowers, they kept... the reason why I don't like them is they kept changing things over the past X number of years. And I'm like, how many carburetor choke variants do I need to stock and fool with? And then I showed you guys one on a spring cleanup. Somebody was at it, and they lost a little lever rod and the other thing, and I'm like, oh God. And because they didn't know what to take apart and how to take it apart, and they gave up. I'm like, I could fix this, but I don't want to. I mean, oh my God, put a Briggs on it. If the body was any good, I might have. But they're smaller bodies. It was on like a Lawn Boy, smaller body. Those don't necessarily sell well up here. You could sell one if you put one up, a couple up throughout the year. But as soon as you're listing it as a 20-inch, and yes, there are smaller properties and areas where somebody would look at that and maybe practically thinking, oh yeah, that would be good for me. Yeah, you have to wait for that person mostly. Because a lot of the others, they're like, oh, but it's a 20-inch, and will you take this much for it? And you want it to leave, right? Yeah, Brett. We have basically the same Honda. I don't remember what year mine is though. Yeah, the Kohler Courage. No, they're no good. Yeah, they're just garbage. So much of this stuff is garbage. Let's go. Hold on. I'm gonna do. Should I take a leak? Hold on. Let me take this down first. Let's see. Live scene setup. Let's transfer back to that. It's been a while. Get that out of the way, right? And let me bring this up. I'm probably going to go like backwards and see how far we get. So that's me there. I want this here. Because if I go in the other direction, how many screens? How many screens does this still have? I have that one. Let's put that there. So we'll kind of go backwards a little bit. So Big Mike was over. And so we're going to work on a couple of things. So I wanted to show you. So I'm going to run a couple of vids. And then we're going to grab a quick pee break. But yeah, he's got some interesting stuff here. But he's been having problems with his property because he's got to cut, big property that has been growing and overgrowing for a long time, and it's causing him problems. So he did a really nice job on this. He picked this thing up. Let's see. Let's bring up right monitor. I got to check sound. And I'll have to shut up at some point. Oh, yeah. Quick shout out to Big Mike. This, I think, I'm going to just dunk in some oil. All right, Big Mike brought over a bunch of stuff, which I'll show you. I brought some of it inside. But I've been needing one of these. He set me up with that. So I'm going to go bring that in, move this wheelbarrow out of the way so I can finish, everything is really dry. Bring that in. Let's go take a look over there for a moment. Yes, let's look over there. All right, so this he got running real good. He did a repaint and de-rust. Great job. A bunch of stuff to it. She's running a little rough. We're going to pull the carburetor off. But I sent him off. He went to
nice motor.
Let me just put this back. Right, and we'll put the cover back in a minute. He went to go get an air filter, and he wants it a little higher. His problem is he needs like a DR brush mower. He's a finish mowers, and that's part of why he killed his Sunstar, and he's been struggling upstate. And so I sent him off. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute when we cover it with the wheels and everything. But I sent him off with an old Craftsman that's back there, right? I had one of those wheels around, and he had mentioned it. I'm like, yeah, I have one. So I think that's what we're going to do. Hold on, let me put that back, and I'll show you. But we were thinking about changing the height by welding a plate onto here, and then that gives us more adjustability. We can drill a couple of holes, and then the rest of the adjustability is done there with that crank, right? So you can really dial it in. But he doesn't need that much more height, and you're going to see in a minute. Let me just close that up. I think with a taller tire he'll be fine. And then this week I just want to kind of go over it. We'll pull the tin, we'll pull the carb. It runs a little weird, but it runs okay. It starts right up. That's another episode. I'll do a video on that. Let me put you down on the stand for a minute. Yeah, he always makes these nice covers because he's a roofer, and he knows how to work in these materials, and it's easy for him, and he has it. So this is your standard tire. This is what came off of the Craftsman, and you could see, and this is beat, but is so much higher. He doesn't need that much more height. And I took these, I had two of these, and like I said, they belong to that Craftsman back there. But what's on the Craftsman is basically what's on all of these machines. And those fit fine. They were able to hold air, obviously. They're a little low now, but they were able to hold air. It's the same thing that's on all of these, almost. Well, this one's a little bit different, but these. So I said, just go get two. We had to go over to Tractor Supply anyway to get some pet food and whatever else. Well, I just picked two of them up, with the rims and everything. So come over tonight
Put
or
the next
tomorrow,
size
whatever.
up.
We'll drag it over. We'll slap them on and see how it fits. I don't know if it's going to clear there. It may or may not. But if they're returnable,
And then these bumper wheels, we might be able to just move the bumper wheel forward. Unbolt it, move it forward a little bit, rebolt it. He can do that if he wants, or I'll do it. But we can find out right away, and that'll give him a little bit more height, rather than weld and all this stuff, because he needs to cut. So if we wanted to make something, or he's thinking about buying a cheap welder, we could do that, or he could do that, and he could do that, I don't know, give him another inch or so maybe, and he'll be fine, and then he can make his adjustments. And I had to tip Mikey's cart down because it was getting water in. All these overheads, they all do that, and a lot of water was getting in the motor. It was locking up. It's a brand new motor. Hopefully it's okay. And this, I'm realizing that I'm not going to pull the motor out of this. I'll find out. He's going to take this one. Made the decision on that. So
That thing's huge.
And
it's a
just put it to the
two-stage.
side, and then I can take this cover off and all that. I want to cover the carburetor, so that's why I'm out here. But this is actually in really good shape. I say just put some of his Purdy things on there, the nice rims and tires, a few other things. I don't even think this motor is leaning. It doesn't appear to be. Throw the new belts on it. Sleep the motor in place. When I get the cover off, I'll be able to look at the motor mounts. He needs motor mounts. I need motor mounts. But everything else is like really tight. It's actually too tight. I don't even think we even need to Purdy it up. I would just change. The biggest issue with it is there's a little bit of jamming in the mechanisms because they're really tight. I would put transmission fluid and a tranny in it.
Yeah,
swap
filter.
the belts, do a few other things, pop his seat on, change the tires, obviously get this out of the way, drop his mower deck, it's all mint on here. Get him back to work.
Yeah.
It's still the middle of the summer, and then there's still fall. Get him back to work. Maybe I can change the tins. We'll see. I'll see.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care. All right, I got to go. I got some stuff to do.
All right, let's see. So I wanted to get you up to date. Let me come back. I'll run the other footage in a bit. But, so Mike damaged his Kohler motor, the Magnum. And so it's stuck in the middle of the field, that beautiful thing that I made last year. And part of the issue, too, is that he's trying to grind up, chaff and wheat field, and he really needed like a DR, right? Which is a completely different setup and mechanism. And, with this nice little finish mower that you can tow around, it's too low. It's trying to do a finish work. It's not set up to be DNR, right? Whatever they were. So no matter what you do, if you can get it a little bit higher, it'll make it a little bit easier on it. Because none of this old grass and stuff that's rutted and been growing forever, it's not ready to be. It's not ready for a finish mower. Nothing is up there. So we just got to get him through. So that's really the main goal. Now I'll show you some footage in a minute. He found in New Jersey, he found another Simplicity Sunstar, and we've been talking about that. And because he was looking at different motors and everything, I'm like, Mike, I don't want to be putting some oddball motor. That's too much work. It's a very specific setup on the Sunstars. We'd be better off finding either another motor or another machine. Turns out this thing looks ugly, but I'll show you. It runs. It's tight. It's stiff. It's not overly rusted. It really isn't. It's R2 machines, like my machine's really the worst. It smokes out of one cylinder. A lot of the fitments are loose. The bushings and things of that nature on the caps were off, to the spindles for a long time, and God knows how long, and all the filters going in. So, there's issues with mine, and there was some issues with hers. His was better than mine. This is better than both. Believe it or not. Everything is really tight. And the motor runs well. And I think it's a reman. So let me see if I can find that stuff. Let me check here. Now, how can I do? How do I do this? I almost need like another monitor. Yeah, just to make sure, that I'm okay. I almost need another monitor. Well, I do have another one, but I don't know if I want to try to do that right now. So this was like yesterday? What did we do, yesterday or something else? When did I do that? Yeah, this is it here. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. I'm just going to zip through it because I will make a video from it, so I'm just going to zip through this. So forgive me if it very truncated. What is this, Mike? Hi.
More junk for Uncle Arch.
Yeah, and more. So remember the story for those of you that follow the live show. Mike had a little incident with his, where it was abandoned in the field.
It was a little abandoned.
Still abandoned and currently abandoned. We're going to start this thing up in a minute. But what'd you get? 150 bucks?
No, it actually cost me 200 because he said he sent me a picture of the amount of people that wanted it.
Oh.
So I said, well, I'll come tonight.
Okay.
Scoop it up. He's like, oh, well, the highest one is 200. I said, I'll be there.
Yeah. See how the story always changes in these people. Well, either way, he had to drive to what? Jersey? New Jersey.
It's where they threw spaghetti at the map.
Yep. See this? This is beautiful. So we all have one of these, he and I. But I said to him, we're going to take the best one, and I think Mike's got to check his, and then we'll sell whatever, you know, because he's got extra parts here. You'll make your money back.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody will use this, and this can fit on a number of machines, so it doesn't just have to be.
So
for this
Mike
machine,
should take
but it's
that
quite
one
the setup. We're going to lift it up
for
in a minute.
upstate.
This
So
one
that's
has
what we're gonna
wheels on
do.
the bottom. I don't have that, but I could make that. But it's got a bad
Looks
wheel.
like somebody made those.
Yeah, it does. But this is in nice shape.
Or it's an aftermarket.
Yeah, this may be a reman motor or a replacement. Now, on the air cleaner, which is in the backyard, you saw, what does it say on there again, Mike?
It said not remanufactured. It said rebuilt or replaced.
Yeah, replacement part or something.
Replacement motor.
Replacement motor, not the part, the air cleaner, but the motor.
So it's possible. Maybe they had a some kind of recall.
Look how nice that is. And that carburetor is in great shape.
Could be a warranty issue.
No, it doesn't. This is all, what we want is the motor, because he killed his motor.
Tracker jacks.
And yeah, it's a mess. That'll eventually be here. So we'll get it off. We're going to put it in the backyard for now, but it's in beautiful shape everywhere else. What's with this? Oh, water got in there and froze, I guess. Look at that.
Oh yeah, in that pipe.
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
Wow. But everything else looks good. It really is in very good shape. Where do you hear this motor?
Hour meter only says 700, but there's no wires on it.
I know. Oh, that's the other thing. The guy literally ripped every wire off. This is how he was running it. So I don't want to completely disturb it because we need it set up right now to get this thing running. Let me put you on the stand. We'll get a deeper look at it later. Yeah. All right. Really work on it in there. There's no way to lift any. Unlike both of our machines, that wasn't the case, so there's some damage. Flood it to shut. Now we had to flood it to shut it off, just putting the hand over the carburetor. So that's probably why it smoked a little bit and it was a little rough start. But when he first started, it didn't do that. To shut it off, because we don't know any of the wiring.
Yeah, cold start, it started right up. But then to shut it off, we had to cut the carb.
Is anything rocking? It's up. Hold up. It might be binding up because nothing's lubricated. So this extension shit. Yeah, I'll drag it.
Good.
Yeah, she gets out a little early on Friday.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Perfect timing. So everything is jammed.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So I got the camera rolling, just so you know. But
Hi, camera rolling.
yeah, stream getting rolling all night long with a heave and a hoe. Just put a little. I just made up some Oreos. This is my favorite training sauce, man.
Chef.
Into a bowl. Just kind of hitting, you know, whatever. Go on the other side.
The wiring system, it might come around.
Yes. Just tape all the wires together into a ball.
I can't believe the guy ripped
was
off
funny when I
all
rewired
of the
it,
wiring
And then one
harness
fella
on this
was
machine.
watching it
And he
what I was
ran
doing.
it with
I
these
don't know,
wires
you're
dangling.
doing that right. I've done this a long time. I don't think you're not showing all your work. I'm concerned. I'm like, bro, I don't know, make pretty detailed videos. If you can't figure it out, you're not either watching the whole thing, which is usually the case.
Yeah.
So you're skimming through
Popping in.
right? Or you just don't know, and there's nothing I can write to you. I can't redo it, and there's nothing I can write to you in a texting in a comment window that's going to help you.
Yeah.
And then this is the tranny cooler.
Yes. Yeah.
You clean it out.
Change. Restatability. Through it. Try to put on target.
You got to go through New York State.
It's right out of Mark's. All right, let me.
Let's see.
So Mike's taking a snapshot of the tag on the blower over there. I'm like, send it to me. So this is the thing this is a control module and a test area too. But there's even a part number on that. When you get a chance, Mike, take a shot of that. This is what we had to remove from his because it burned out. It's potted in sand. Real old school. But that's what freaked the guy out with all of these. You got your wafer switches up in there and freaked the guy out. So
Yeah,
he just cut
micro
everything
switches.
and destroyed all of the original wiring. And that's a lot of what I had to go through. Everything is in really good shape. There's still boots down here on these ends. Turn a little right on, if it'll help. All this is tight.
So you see all the
This is
steering
tight.
knuckles?
They don't wobble like mine.
The caps were still on.
Because the caps have been on it. Everything, there's a tag there that's made in USA. And I'll show you the air cleaner in a minute. But everywhere we look, like everything is tight, actually a little too tight. This did help that I lubed a little bit, but it's still very stiff. Everything is in very good shape. It just looks like crap because the body, it's been left out. You can see, you throw a little oil on it, get rid of a little bit of the rust, the frame's mint. Everything back here looks good. Like it's actually in very good shape. It's just been outside. Now, of course, these things are so heavy and they're really hard to screw up. Unfortunately, Mike, I know Mike's laughing because he's like, I can screw it up.
It wasn't that hard.
Right. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I did, no problem. I also threw a little bit of oil up on the gears and the Bendix over there and the starter. But all of this is in really good shape. I threw a little bit of lube over there too for the seal, but that's in very good shape. Everything is just whatever I can get quick, right? This blew out. I guess the tube filled up with water and froze. But this is the original setup. Mine's similar. Mike and I have the one where the rotation is electric. And this is just a little bit different than mine.
Yeah, it's two-stage.
That must tilt or something. I don't know.
Well, it's got spring compression in the wheels.
Something, we'll have to lubricate it and pull on it. Pull it! Because it's got this too. So this is this is a little bit different than ours. It is a little different. And it's got this. So I'm guessing when you want to rotate it, you have to pull this pin and get out and turn it. Whereas mine, I made the thing that allows you to turn it.
I think that's some reinforcing bar in the front with the three bolts.
Yeah, it wants to move. But this has that option where you can turn it. And mine has a cover over the gearbox.
Down and away.
Yeah.
It comes up. Wow, look how easy that just came up.
Yeah, I know. It's actually in very good shape. It's just dirty. It's just sticky and dirty. Yeah, the only thing I don't like is you have to get on it from this side. Try to get on it from there, you get impaled. Yeah, I can't even get on it. I'm skinny ass. It's all in really good shape.
Yeah. We can't open the
Wait,
hood.
do that again.
Yes, this is what I want to show you.
Yeah, there's no movement there. Let's look at the other side when he does that.
I have some movement in those
Yeah, 'cause the
knuckles.
cap's wrong.
And Zippo was going, yeah, you could fix it, and here's what you can
The
do.
tires like they're still kind of usable. Yep. All right, let's get it in the back. Let me go find a spot for it.
All right, I'm coming back. I think that's it. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I just kind of pull it in the back. All right, I'm coming back. But just a nice, interesting machine. They're very heavy duty, these machines. Like, they punch so far above their weight and everything. They're just really amazing machines. So we were talking about it. I was thinking about it. One of the things I was thinking about last night, and Mike kind of had mentioned it because he was, here today. And I'm thinking he needs a machine back. Why don't I just go into salvage mode and just instead of trying to pull the motors out of both machines and then doing a swap and all of that, I said, why don't we do this? And first of all, I can't really tell you really what's going on. We spent some time with it, and we both were looking at it, noodling over it, and loving on it. But let's get that big blower package off, right? I said, he wants it. He really needs it upstate. Maybe, I like mine. Mine's a single stage, but I haven't really had to use it. We haven't had those kinds of snowstorms. I've been using the plow, and I have snow blowers. So he could bring that upstate and maybe bring the other blower down, and I'll try and sell it for him, right? We'll drop it off here in the yard and keep mine. And once I get that blower off, then I can take the hood off and I can, bring it out on the lawn, pressure wash it. And I got to get all of that junk that's, sitting down there by the motor on the bottom there in the frame. That's all, once again, it's all, needles and what have you from the pine tree. And then I can get it cleaned up and get a good look at the motor mounts. Because if the motor mounts are good, which I don't see the motor leaning. Usually you can see it. I can definitely see it. And I've showed Mike, both of ours need motor mounts. And on his frame, somebody tried welding some washers and what have you in. And on mine, somebody made some hokey thing. And when the motor leans forward, one, it's bad for the motor. Two, on mine, it'll throw belts in the front. So it will, because the belts in the front run the mechanism for that snow thrower. But if you don't have the snow thrower on, you put the deck on. Is another transfer box underneath there, and it has an output for a shaft that runs the deck. And when the motor leans forward, the belts get jammed up into each other, and they'll kick one off, or it can kick both off. So I think on mine for a while, I actually just left the one belt on. If the motor mounts are good, I'm like, why don't we just take all the Purdy stuff from your other machine and put the Purdy stuff on and do whatever. I think the biggest problem with this machine is that the gas tank has to come out. I mean, the seat's no good. Take his seat, but the gas tank kind of has to come out because it's filthy. So the guy abandoned it, was running off of a boat tank, and with all of these electrical wires all over the place, I'm like, oh my God. But that's kind of what we're thinking, so we can just kind of get everything back and going again. And maybe I'll Purdy up by switching all of the tins, put his good deck on, his nice rims and tires that I did. Just kind of, because the motor runs fine. I don't even think you need to put the whole harness back. I could just tie it up and throw some switches on the front for him and whatever and just make it safe and neat. We don't have to put the harness back. I could do that another time. Just kind of get it all back together and rigged up so he can have yet another machine up there to manage, which was the original intent. And now we're into this season and he doesn't have it. So, and we still have the fall to go through. So that's really where we're at. I'll know more when I pull that monstrosity off the front, put it to the side, and I can get in there and look closer. And I said, when I do that, I'll let you know. You can come over. We'll take a look at it. We'll talk about it. But if everything seems good, why not? And then it's probably the best frame and steering and knuckle and brake system. It doesn't seem to be worn. It just don't let the looks of it, because it looks like absolute crap. Don't let that deceive you. I think that might be the easier way of doing it. And then we have parts. You know, and I said, then maybe what I'll do is I'll take your old frame. Because my motor, I heard it knock when we went to go start it. I started it on a lower, like, idle. Usually it doesn't start there, but it's a warm day. You know, usually it needs to be a little higher rev for it to start. It's a little weak on its start. Yeah, because it blows smoke. Mine blows a little bit of smoke. One lung is a little down, right? So I'm like, maybe I'll just take your frame. Because my frame and all the knuckles and everything, they're okay. I've been over it and all. But I have another problem, too, where the transmission, so there's an output shaft that comes out of the back of the motor, right? Runs through the center of the frame, past everything, and it's coupled with a rag joint and a spline joint to the input shaft of the transmission. And that's where the pump is that runs everything. So these machines are set up, this peerless, it's basically, it comes to transmission. Huge, but the pump section is in the front. Something happened to mine, and the guy welded the rag joint, one end of the rag joint, to the splined input shaft of the input of the transmission and pump. And it's stuck there. So to pull the motor out on mine, generally speaking, to pull the motor out, or if you wanted to service it, there's a cover right there, so you could kind of see in there. That cover's off on his. We have it. But they take the cover off, and there are the two little neutral valves that stick up. You can push them down, I think, and the whole tranny is neutral now. That's one of the ways it's done. It has a neutral, but if you have a problem with the transmission, that's where it's done. And that's where the input spline is. And normally you would just loosen it up, pry it off, right? And just like everything else, you can pull the motor out instead of trying to get to the other side of that, which is connected to the motor behind the flywheel. You just lift the motor out and with the dangling shaft on the end of it. And you could deal with that later if that's what you want to do. Or you have to get in there and get into all that and remove the shaft from there if there's something wrong with the shaft, or if you want to deal with the joints that are in there. You can't do that with mine, right? You can't, or unless you want to break the weld. And where else are you going to get another input shaft? My tranny's in good shape. I think his tranny is good, and it seems like this tranny is good. Although I couldn't get the reversing valve, the valve body to really move on the levers. We lubricated and something stuck. We don't know what the guy did, but something stuck. But it feels like it started to move. It goes forward, it goes in reverse. I just can't get full travel out of it yet because a lot of things are stuck. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. I feel bad for him because he's got to, it's more money, but it's very economical. In a sense, these things are not really expensive. The hardest part for him was getting all the way into Jersey late at night and being up late and then having to get up for work, because we're no young spring chickens and he works hard. That's the worst part. Let me catch up with you guys. Let's come back to, let's see, split screen shot. I love it. It's an easy switch. Here, go this way. Was that V? Hold on. Oh, what are the cats doing now? It's getting cold in here. What's this one hanging over something? The other day, we kept saying, they hang out in the bathroom. They like to sit on the window ledge, and they all go in there. Well, I heard something the other day. Look, it's the two. Hold on. It's the two of them, the brothers. They're black. Am I going the right way? Yeah. So I left the toilet seat up because I'm a guy, and I guess they were fooling around or whatever, and the female fell in the toilet and freaked out and ran off, right? All wet and shit. So Christina was just coming home from that, and she walks in. I'm like, T, the female fell in the toilet. Oh, great, Dad. We got to wash it. She's all wet. See urine in the toilet. I'm like, it was a little bit. Just a little bit. I had just kind of gone, and I forgot to... Oh, jeez. The crap that goes on every day, it's crazy. Hold on. Make it up. 5-speed with blade clutch. Yes, aluminum. 5-speed self-propelled with the blade clutch. Yeah, those are nice. Rubber Mouse. Kohler Courage. I know, it's vomit. Mine is a 2018. Wow, yours is pretty new. I don't think mine's that new. I haven't bothered to look. Well, the one that I have is not actually the one that I bought brand new, like 15, 20 years ago. That one started to smoke a little bit. And for some reason, I sold it to a local fellow, younger guy who just bought a house in the neighborhood. He was a sheriff. Make the sheriff happy. Melis goes, I love the Kohler 22 Pro V-twin cylinder engine on my Craftsman GT tractor. Yeah, those are nice. Those are pretty good. I'm trying to save. I was telling Mike again today, I'm like, I got to get rid of all of this junk back there. That's another goal that I have. But I want to save some of the Briggs opposed, those nice twins that are opposed. I got a couple of them. I want those. Kohler discouraged. Yep. Robbie goes, Mahouse goes, he goes, that looks like a Swisser pull behind finish motor. I don't know what brand it is. There's really nothing to these things. Somebody makes this stuff and everything else is all off the shelf components, right? All you got to do is put it together, right? It's in nice shape. It's good, but it's a nice finish motor. You just got to grab it and drag it. And Mitch Simpson's here. He goes, hello from Soggy, Illinois. Where it says Billy Goat makes a nice walk behind brush mower. Far better than the DR. Oh, is that right? That thing is massive. It's built like a Power King. Yeah, I think he could probably drag it around. Mike, what are you dragging around on, right? Because he has a Skag, but he hates that thing. It kills him. What are you dragging on? Your ATV or something? Your little 4Runner or something like that? What are you dragging it around on? You got to drag it. It's heavy. So I got to get that. So this week, that's got to get out, among a couple other things. Get that pole mower, finish mower, back to Mike so that Mike can get back upstate, do his lawn, and hopefully you can see about bringing his Sunstar back down or whatever. So that's, I got some stuff for Mikey to do. I'm gonna go take a quick leak, and then I'll show you some of the other stuff that I was up to. So let's see. Where's the lady? Where's the lady of the evening? Where is she? Let's see. We haven't run her in a while. Yeah, let's say hello to this lady. Make sure she's queued up. Let me put this out. He goes, Yamaha 400. Yeah, that's a nice size. Yeah, he's towing around with his Yamaha 400. There she goes. Let's make sure she's queued up. And there's her. My scene. I have to shut P Lady down. See you later, P Lady. Let's see. Mike is up. That's good. Look at this thing. These are nice. I always like the smell of new rubber with fresh rim. I mean, all right, $80 so, but it's you got nice rims, and it should go right on with nice steel bushing in there. They're like, it's basically the same tire. It's not like what I was showing you. I guess it's bigger. I don't know. I didn't have a chance to look. Mike, is it bigger? Is it taller? I need to spend some time with this nice tire. Yeah. And I just love the way, even though if it doesn't, I don't care who makes it really, but it's got the nibs on it, right? It smells so nice. I can't really read it. It's too dark. It says 16 by 16 or 15. 16 by 6.5-8. High run. Bias. How many plies does it have? Let me see. SU12 turf. Wheel size is 8 by 5.375. Grayish white. Bias 2-ply. That's fine. Capacity 415 pounds. 14 psi. Not rated for highway use. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Yeah, that's going to be nice. So that's the other thing I'll do is I'll chuck them on. And we'll make sure, okay. It's the 16. Yeah. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, it's not, I'm not picking up any smell on my hands. It's a little sticky. You know, that's what was the old tire size and height. What do you mean, the one that with the blowed out tire? It wasn't as wide though. From the Craftsman is what you're saying, right, Mike? Not as wide. The Craftsman had the one skinny and narrow. These are wider. For sure. Let me see. I want to kind of queue up. I'll show you the other thing I was up to. He's huffing tires. Yeah, I like certain smells still. I like that stuff. You know, I can't help it. It's just the way I am. I like that stuff. Let's see, which one am I on? So I did something for Mike. So, yeah, Mike, contractor Mike. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's do the lift. I'll show you the lift. Yep, it was the skinnier. That doesn't seem skinny. I don't know. Something don't feel right. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't feel, unless the other one is so damaged that it's kind of hard to tell. But I don't know. We're going to try this out. And like I said, we'll try to get it all set up on there. And if I have to move the bumpers forward, I'll just bolt them and move them forward a little bit. Put some bolts back in there so it stays nice. I mean, if it's off a bolt hole, I'll drill and shove another, the bolt in, and it'll be good. It'll be fine. As long as it gets it up a little bit higher and it's nice and fresh and new and it's not going to have a problem. And we won't have any problems. Yeah, I love the smell of certain things. It's just, tire rubber is, and when I wish it stayed like that all the time. Look how beautiful that is. Right? I just wish it stayed like that. You're talking to somebody that, has won first place shows where everything is painted, there's no rust, everything is clean, right? Everything is armor all. It's total, especially if that's the German in me. You get so fastidious and nitpicky that you can get to that point. You look underneath, it's eat-offable frame. It's just taller than the one that is on it now. Okay, that's fine, yeah. Yeah, that's really all I care about. And hopefully it fits, and whatever it doesn't fit, that's what hammers and grinders are for. Right? Just like with Ken's little engine there that he had to deal with. That annoying thing. Check this out. Hold on. Here we go. Where are we? So this is how I am. This is what you do when you don't have help, when you don't want to be bothered, and it's a holiday weekend. So here's my holiday.
All right, here's the setup. All right, we got basically 3 objectives. So, I think I showed earlier, I added this extra strap here. It's just pulling down on this to straighten it because it was leaning a little bit, and still is. Now, we may have to adjust that because as she comes up, it's going to be tied to here and not swinging on this. And this guy here, so this is really just sort of wrapped around. It's holding the weight in the front. But it's hooked here to this green one, and that's what's hooked to the to this hook here. The shackles, this shackle here and this shackle here, basically to tie this on. This is the first one to come off, and you'll see why. And then on top of it, I got a combination of this and a thinner, smaller green. I guess you could say this is green too. It's more like gray now. That way I can ratchet this in a little bit tighter. Now it's not really tight, it's more of a backup. We could pull a little bit more up on it as I bring it up. We just got to be careful with this nonsense here. You see it's tied in here. That's our backup. And the reason for the backup is because as we push it in, this is the first strap we're going to have to remove, and that's carrying a lot of the weight. Because it's just no way we can get it in far enough to really take the load off. If they were both back here, it would have been fine, but they're not. So this is a secondary, this is a primary, first one to come off. At that point, we're probably going to have to, I don't know how we're going to loosen it, but once we get some of the weight off,
All right, enough talking. Here we go.
Now, let me tighten this one up a little.
So I made also a shelf, which I finished.
Underneath, I will.
And she's
It's
saying,
not ridiculously heavy. 2 people can lift it.
well, if you have to get it up over your head,
It's
or,
for men.
Yeah.
or like
We
up
have
at your
another
shoulder
strong
height.
man here.
No.
So my ex-wife is there.
Well, it's almost high enough to get underneath that.
So just so you know, my ex-wife is there. Hold on. I'll come back for a minute. So my ex-wife is there. It's not really for emotional support. It's because I can't tell you how many times, right? She's literally standing right in front of me when I lacerate something and blood spurts all over or something falls over and is a big kaboom and something, it's sticking out of my arm. I remember one time I had an author too. Anyway, that's another story. Pull it out up on a scaffold on ladders, like 20 feet in the air. Pull it out. Anyway. So she can dial 911. And even Elizabeth, I can't tell you, even Elizabeth, not as many times as my ex-wife, but Elizabeth has had to rush my ass to the hospital, right? So that's really why she's there. Not that I thought anything would happen, but hey, right? Safety first. Oh, crap. Oh, that's too much. Here we go.
Goes up. I don't know
if it goes a little bit more, you'll probably be even with that shelf.
Oh, yeah, it's cleared the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cleared the shelf.
Yep.
All right, now we got to bring it down real slow.
I just want to bring it down.
Pretty much on that side.
The fins are gagged.
On this side, it's almost cleared the shelf.
The fins got damaged.
Rake the fins. They're damaged.
So I raked the fins.
And the fins in the back.
So I put it back down, took a break, ate, and then raked the fins, came back out later on, and she came back out and was sitting there. There it goes! There it goes! That thing is heavy. It is really heavy. So I had to rework the wall, and I had to clean up the garage, and I had to put the hoist back together, and I had all the stuff to do, lifting all this stuff around. I still got to put the other air conditioner back in the basement, because I just made a mess in my clean basement.
Already.
Yeah, so it's in.
Bulbs. You can see it has to come. So the weight is like.
So it's actually can rest to a large degree on that shelf. And I'm like, all right, we'll get the ladder on it now.
So we got a piece of wood, pressure off.
Yeah, pressure's off.
I'll probably take a get this.
And in it goes. Right.
All right, so we're definitely
like a gentleman.
The two straps are out of the way. This is the only thing that's there. There's no pressure.
And because I can't afford to damage it.
I'm going to release the rest of this. It's basically in.
Yeah, it's in.
Really for to fix it. Because I've already.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit.
Oh yeah, filters in. I have it on air swing. So those little shutters that you might have seen before, they're moving back and forth. It's on hub. Comes up and goes 2B in there.
Yeah. Nice setup.
Oh yeah, he's dripping big time.
Water just pours right out.
Now this one's a little loose still, so it didn't really need it. But we could put a little, just drain it properly. And we got to make something for up there. So.
Yeah, it's all dialed in. So the other thing that I did to it is let's see. I leveled all of that. Oh yeah, here. So what happened to the other air conditioner was all of the pine needles just destroyed it. It completely rotted it out. So I'm like, okay, I spent some time and I worked all of this into the inside.
I'm not a big fan of the metal. This does lay nicer. And I could even put, I think I might put 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a little rough up there. I'm afraid it's going to get caught. But it doesn't, see, it can't come past there. There's like a strip here.
Anyway, yeah, so all that's in there.
I don't like is that steel or something. So this would be your typical, but it's blowing outwards, so we don't have to worry about it. And
so there's no way for any of that crap to get in.
I was just wondering, I'm not going to put anything here. It just doesn't need it. That's so small. But these bigger ones, I did add a little bit of sort of elastomer, I guess you could say. It's a kind of...
Yeah, it won't come off.
Caulk. I think that'll work. And I have enough room to lift it up. It's a little tight here. I think we need to do that.
Clean all that up.
Trim this tomorrow. Wasn't so slanted.
But I don't know what kind of video I might make out of it. I don't know. But let's see. What's this one here? I did a video the other day.
I'm slowly cleaning up.
Yeah, it's a mess. You know, everything became like very messy.
We gotta
and
move some stuff out of the way and pull that board.
let's see. I'm just gonna cruise through it real quick. Everything got cleaned. Yeah, this was destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah, it's just completely rotted. It ran it. I was blown.
It was
in.
packed.
It stinks. It did stink. It's airing out. It's shot. Fetters too. It's shot. It hadn't rotted out. You know? But it didn't even blow cold air anymore. I'll cut the cord on the thing.
It was completely packed with pine
Yeah,
needles.
it's in the wand pile.
It's in the wand pile. Yeah, yep. So let's see. What else do I got? Let me go to the other. Yeah, that's where Apollo is buried back there. Let's see. Let me back up from here. So this is just what I was kind of working on, and this is a little quick. I'll do 2 quick updates on the Lathe project. If Johnny's still out there, anybody that knows Lathe's got the Ken. Johnny, you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But I've been accumulating some steel, and Mike brought over some more steel. So I'll kind of gonna go through this too a little bit. Let's see. The Sunstar's built like a power king. He's huffing tires. Malis goes, when I get a chance, I will send a video on lawnmower tires to Brett so he can send it to you, Archie. Yeah, send me a sample sniff package, right? Something I can sniff if it's worthy of sniffing. Only new tires I sniff. Well, now this air compressor's on. Hold on. To something like this, we can also make. I'm going to use a bigger bolt. So this is, and it's got a lot of movement. I did take so I stole really hot. ACs have been on. The one in the garage now is cycled. So just want to go over a couple of quick things. So I stole this tool post holder. Smell-o-vision. And this guy, I have it apart. It's got a lot of movement. I did take the gib out. Hold on. Small bolt, actually. But we can go standard, which is what I'm going to do. Yeah,
I'm going to use a bigger bolt. And I'll come back and I'll make a stud. That one has a shoulder on it, but it's the same thread size. So we have a lot of room. I have a few others. So we can come back to that. It might just start off with a bolt before we get back to something like this, we can also make later after I have a cutting tool. So the compound slide, right? Like I said, I stole the tool set. This was very inexpensive. We could use it for something else maybe down the road, but we need a compound restoration. And this was the broken one. Okay, broken tool rest effectively. So one of the things I want to test, this is all, I cleaned this up, degreased it, and then ran it with some OSFO. So all of this is now clean, pretty much derusted. These metals turn gray real quick. I love it. It's a grayish green, the kind of cast. So I'm not going to look to try to remount this. However, I do want to do a test on this to see if I could braze to this. So I'm going to do an acid clean on this when I'm ready, and we'll get all this cleaned up. And I'll grind an area and do a few tests. We'll stick something on there. We'll glue something on there. I've been fairly successful either with braze or silver solder or whatever. I want to see if I can braze with this. And I'll bring you a little closer in a minute. But just to get you started. Mike brought over a bunch of different plates. This is roughly quarter. And I say roughly because they're all a little different, right? So this one's coming in at, well, let me get my glasses. I looked at it last night. So I bought even shape. The ways, all right, this piece, there's no real play in there, and I have the gib for it out of a square chunk. I don't have a mill. I don't have a lathe, right? So as I'm measuring, roughly quarter inch, but no quarter inch is the same, and we need to come in real close. I got it set up in the lathe right now. I don't have the bit on. We'll put the bit on in a little bit. I gotta get real close. The closer I get it, if I'm a little bit under, I can shim.
we need to be able to get it spot on, because when you pull the tool, and you'll see what I'm talking about, as you pull the tool across the surface when you're facing or whatever, you can't have a nub left over. If you have a nub, you haven't machined it. There's no reason to have a nub, a little teat sticking out. And I'm so close that I'm not sure. So I'll go through it real quick. So this piece here is the closest, but I really need this piece. But I can remake it. This goes on the back, and I'll show you again. This is dialing in at, it's a quarter, it's like 2... Yeah, I'll go past this, but they're all a little different. They're not the same dimension. The mic is here. So as you move this vise back and forth through its limited travel, now this would be roughly there. And then this guy can only go about that far. And then this is the part I really need. See the hole there? Right? These are these kinds of ways that they're... This is a circular... I call it a bayonet mount, but it's a dovetail. So all of these dovetails, I need this. You're not going to find that, especially on an old lathe. Nobody ever really made these consistent. The holes and everything. They kind of were to that model, to that frame, to that carriage assembly. When they made that, they changed it over the years. They made different sizing. Fortunately, this is all in good shape, and it's all straight and square. So we want to keep it. So it's going to wind up. Well, yeah, let me go to the next one. So where the bolt or stud has to be is very far out in a place that doesn't exist Imagine anymore. this piece was cut, or this piece, or whatever piece I choose, or multiples to dial it in, because we don't know. Imagine it was cut just a little bit bigger, and imagine this piece being, you know, about a quarter, right? Roughly. Or it could even be an eighth. All right? And it's an eighth, and it doesn't get in the way of these ways, these guides. So you have to cut it to size. It just comes up enough, you know, it should be wide enough to get good welding penetration. Weld it to the top plate. When that's done, let me turn the lid. Oh, hold on. Constant interruptions. I'm running the sprinkler, so I want to make sure I hold all my tolerances, right? I'll be able to weld to the top plate, and then it can be screwed in on the sides. A couple of strategic smaller screws, similar to the waist screw, whatever. It just has to be supported well and clamped so it will not move. And 1/4 inch material, we're in the range of 1/4 inch. No bigger, because, and you'll see why, it can't be anything bigger, like that's close to 1/4, but these are like 3/8 to half. But if I take one of these, and if I put it here, if there's a way, if I clean up everything, that I can fill weld in here. Or and you'll see it if I turn around this way too. Fill braze. Maybe put a step on it, I don't know. But this is where the bolt needs to be, or the threads. Yeah, way out. It could even be a 1/2 inch. I don't know. We can glue two together. I don't know. Right? We can make that bigger. But if I can get one in here, some braze up in here, and I did this on my lift table. On the one I made, I was actually able to braze to some nice piece of cast. I just don't know exactly what cast this is. We'll make this flat and true. There's holes in here. It's bolted. The guy bolted it, and he did a nice job. Used really long bolts, but that will never hold the pressure on, and it didn't. It bent.
It can't handle the pressure of the cutting tip, so it bent.
But shorter bolts will work. So if I have another piece like that fits in that, there's like a shelf in here, right?
This is a
I can bolt
conundrum.
it too. So I can braze it and I can bolt it. If I can braze it and bolt it, and then we put maybe another piece on top, although there's enough thread there, because boy, they didn't put much thread in this. That's what locates the tool post. But we can get a little bit more out of it, and it'll be captured on the sides because it'll be bolted and welded. It'll be removable from this piece to this part will be, but this won't. Where the threads will be, all that'll be fine. That will not be removable, hopefully. Or I can bolt it. Okay?
Yeah, or
I
both.
can just bolt it and not weld it and not braze it. I've got my options because I can have a piece that comes up that, again, does not get in the way of any of the ways.
Yeah, it has to be trimmed and cut, so it's not in the way of any movement.
And then remember, it's sitting. It can be that can be welded to the top piece, and all of that can be bolted onto this guy. For example, I don't have. This is too big, but I don't have a.
It's hard to describe this. What's in my head
stays out of the way of the ways. Gets bolted.
Yeah, so let's go over here to the lathe, and you'll see what I mean.
All right, I'll show you the other material that I have, but I have some other footage of this, but this is now I have 3 pieces of material to work with, you can see. So here's our dovetail. This is all good to go, right? I didn't even clean this yet. So we're going to come back to that. This has to be cleaned and derusted.
It got a preliminary
it
cleaning.
Gets stuck over here. I have it a little bit loose. It's not going to be, it's not 100% accurate right now. It's not like what I did to this. We need to do to this what I did to this. To really be dead on. So I don't want to be welding or doing anything yet. But now you can get an idea of where we're at. So this guy, it goes over there, right? Here's our little hole, okay, for the adjuster. And then here's our lock for the dovetail. And so this is all accurate, all nice. We slide this guy on. The piece we're still working with. Now, of course, this is just hanging here right now, right? But you're seeing it, right? Here's our compound, but our rest is broken. And, of course, that, if you can see it, that's way off. And what we'll do is we'll pull this guy out a little bit more to make things a little bit viewable. Even with the tool, now the tool is missing. So the tool is, I don't
The cutter
think it
head,
comes up
the
above
piece, the carbide.
this top area here. So you could see how off it is. So that's why
too low.
nothing more than a quarter will work, and I'll show you. Again, this piece goes right to the drive assembly and all those arms and everything. So if I have to use it, I'll use it. But you'll see how close everything gets. Now again, how I mount this, it's going to be kind of out here more. But again, that's part of what I showed you earlier, right? Because remember, this is broken. So let me get that other part. The original lamp post, or if you're putting. So the tool rest, whether it was the original lamp post or if you're putting something else on, right, for your T-nut that you would make, your bolt would be out here. Regardless, if you know your maximum amount, when you go to extent, full extent this way, or come in, right, it's going to be here. That's just to kind of give you an idea of the stud. So, right, you'd have a lot more travel and a lot more adjustability. Now, we don't want to lose all of that. Like, you're thinking, well, maybe you could put it there. You could, but look at how much you're going to be losing more than an inch. If we lose a quarter, that's fine, but an inch, something like that, no. All right, so just keep that in mind. So this would probably be, you know, when it's done, it'll be closer to about there. And it goes our tool rest. And you can see right now, she's almost dead on. Now, she's a little low. Kinda. We might want to be, because again, we don't have the tool insert in. But if you do that, hopefully you guys can see that. I'm only looking at a little screen. Then we're a little high. Right,
I
right
can't
there, we're
zoom
almost
in.
dead on. If we go like that, it's just a little high. And remember, you don't want to have that nub. So the other one that I have, piece that I have, so this is really close. Now we got to cut this, and it's got burrs on it, and it's not laying 100% flat, so we need a good flat section. But that gets me almost right on, because remember, this is thinner, slightly thinner. And then I have one more which I'm not going to show you
You're
here yet.
really dealing in thousands at
I got
some
a nice
point.
brand new piece, and that's even thinner. And I am going to remove a little bit more material off the top of this to try to flatten it by hand a little bit more. We'll hone it so it'll come down a little bit more. Because remember, we can put a shim. Right? We can shim this. You can go up, but you really can't go down. So we can shim it. So if I start off a little bit low and I come up with a shim, you can also put a shim somewhere else. You may be able to get a slight few thousand shim underneath here. I don't know. You don't really want that. You might be able to get a shim underneath here before you put the plate and bolt it down. You may be able to shim it there before we bolt it down and put all of the screws in along the sides. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You could maybe oblong the holes so that you can do the shim and get it dialed in for good, right? For good. And then I have one example of a compound rest setup with a simple tool setup that is available. You can also put high-speed steel in here and grind it. And then I have something that will traverse in either direction, plus in and out this way. And then later on, and I'll show you the piece I'm referring to, later on, if I have any left, this piece is even thinner than the others. It's supposed to be 1/4 inch, but this is nice and new. So we may be able to. Well, I'm missing the other piece, but you get what I'm saying, right? You can have some adjustability if you mount it to here, or if you don't want to mount it to this. Cut a hole, we might be able to thread this, drop that down, and then, don't forget, and I'll show you again, but I've got nice bigger pieces of steel, blanks. Big Mike gave me this. I have some other stuff too in the house, down here in the basement here, in the basement of the house. So we have options. And the point I'm getting to, it's the same thing. You got to get it at the right height. I may want to go to an adjustable one, but you're still going to need a base and a way to drill a hole. And then you have something that is fixed. It's not a compound, but you can go this way, and you can go this. You can go in and out, right, this way in this direction as well, or anything in between. So that's where I'm looking. That's the kind of direction I'm going in. Right now I'm just really assembling all the different pieces of steel and things that I think I can work with, and keeping them as flat as I can. I'll show you the steel. Keeping everything as flat as I can without having to rethink everything, trying to keep as much of the original as possible, and also trying to figure out how to make it rigid.
Yeah, I'll go back up. I just want to show you one more thing on this so you can see it running. But let me come back. So the problem I have is I don't have a lathe and I don't have a mill. So if you're going to fix a precision piece like this, that has to be stable and solid and strong, and even be able to utilize a more modern fixture. How do you make something for something like this without the fact that you don't have a mill and you don't have a lathe? And so you have to think many steps ahead. And the interesting part of it is that if I'm able to do what I'm envisioning, even in the prototype variant, I have a 4-jaw chuck, and I can actually spin pieces and cut them and make replacement pieces, and then install the replacement pieces to make modifications to other pieces to eventually wind up, because you can wind up with something that's very precise. So even if I'm not 100% initially, I can wind up there if I'm patient and I figure out how to do this. Because with a 4-jaw chuck, I can spin a part in the chuck and then machine it. Or I can go the other direction, is I can mount the part into the tool rest and spin an end mill or a fly cutter or something like that in the chuck and address it that way. So there's a number of ways, but to get to that point, I need one tool that works. I don't even really need a compound type setup, honestly, like I was saying at the end, but that's the most feasible thing to do initially, is to figure out how to pull that off. I just wanted to show you guys this thing spinning, and I think you could see there's another segment here that you could see a little bit closer what I was doing, if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Let me come back to this. So this is a better shot. I don't know if anybody's still here, but you know, people come back later on. So here's, I was cleaning some of these parts up. We'll kind of go backwards. So this is a number 2.
All right, first job. This is one of the live centers.
No, it's not a live center. It's just a center.
Somebody butchered it. My other live. Yeah, right there. It's like a sand grit. There you go.
So this is first test.
It's about as good as it is. So, yeah,
And here's the other side. Now, somebody modified this so it's whacked.
So it actually set.
But it's useful for now.
That's good. Maybe I'll see if I'll set it up and I'll drag. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to get it stuck. I don't need all that much.
There we go.
Really no better time than the present to do a little bit of cleanup here. And then we're going to blow it out. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Get in there, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So now
Oh, you
I can
see
put a
it in there,
center
but I
in.
can, and
And now you're going to see what I mean of what you
this
need.
is off. It'll get me close.
So here we go.
This is
That's
not
a
really
long
gonna tell me
reach
very
there.
much
It's a
because
very
this is not
long lathe.
precision. And I think it's long. I mean, that's way beyond. But
Yeah, here we go.
it's behind it, it's loose. I don't see how this would.
Yeah, see, now this is what I'm talking about. This is what you have to
I'll
have.
get the other lens another time.
Now, these two pieces are
But we can't
bogus.
trust this because this looks like it was done on a bench grinder.
Yeah,
and
but
I can see it.
I can get a feel
It's
for
like
what's
this.
happening now.
Oh, let me flip the screen. So, like I said, it's closer to me. This is filthy.
So the end of a tool
That should rock
cutter
it.
has to achieve the same spec. It has to be dead in line on the axial plane of the spindle. Otherwise, it will cut high. It'll cut a taper. It will.
Yeah.
It won't be able to clean up the face
I can
of a
definitely
part.
see it.
It's not accurate. So I have to
Way
check
back.
it. Now,
She's
unfortunately, I
all over
can't
the place.
use these to check it because
Yeah,
somebody
that's
bogeyed them.
closer.
So I have to buy
So
new
we
ones.
can't really do anything with this thing because this. I need
Unless
a
you
live
wanna
sector
cut a
as well,
taper.
but you can't go by this. But if it's close, I can tell you that this whole thing either needs to be brought this way towards the camera a little bit more or cocked. I don't know. So that will have to measure as well. But other than that, this is cleaned up. This one still has use. And so we definitely need a replacement of those.
So what I'm seeing is, other than the fact that these two parts are jimmied, but what I can see is that the tailstock, this whole thing on the left, is cocked, right? It's cocked slightly. So when I take it apart and go through it, I'll have to readjust it. But to readjust it, one of the ways to readjust it is I'm going to need 2 new centers, right? Dead centers that are accurate. And so I'll get to that at some point. And the other thing I wanted to show you is, I think it was something like this one. So this is another idea. This is the one that I bought.
What I was worried
it's
about.
way too
I don't
high.
Have a mill. If I had a mill, I could.
If I had a mill, I could cut a bit, like a half of an inch or a quarter of an inch off of this part here. but I still wouldn't have a way to mount it to the table because of this dovetail, which is problematic. There's no really good flat spot. So that's another reason why I kind of gave up on using this Chinese piece of shit. And I just grabbed the tool holder for now and said, all right, we're going to work with that. But yeah, let me see if I think this part here, you can see some of the movement.
I'll try and keep you away from the light. We get the big bright light. Let's just turn it on. We'll spin those gears in a minute.
I had to make all that work and tighten it up.
All right. All right, we'll go spin the lead screw. Just to show you the gears. Sorry, I got that big light there. Apologize. So we'll just put it in. That I think is more forward. I would. Okay. All right, let's spin her up. It's nice and slow. A lot slower than before. That's all running nice. Everything's running true here. Again, sorry for the light. All right, we'll run a little lead screw in. Let's shut it off. Let's spin down. And I think it should pull it in that way. Okay. Just make sure that's in. Yep, I think so. All right, let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. Just real quick. Yep, see it going? There it goes. That's a nice, that's probably an appropriate speed for most things, but the spindle's a little slow. But she's doing her job. She's got to all come apart and be, you know, final cleaned. And I'll eventually start detailing it. And then we can also write down what I have here. At least we have gears. We have geared numbers. We'll have to count the teeth. I'm going to try to find a chart. I think one of the sites that Ken sent me to just has some basic specs. So there might be something on there. And I still have the nameplate for over here. And we got to review that and kind of decipher it. But that's it. She's looking good.
120 years old. And it's getting there. Let me come back. It's getting there. I haven't been able to work on it as much because I've been so busy with other things. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but it goes as you move along. I did go over the ways to some degree. I stoned them. There was some burrs and things sticking up, and that was causing some issues. So I did, quickly go over the waves so that they're safe. I shouldn't cause any further problems. I don't know exactly how straight and how good they are yet. The whole apron and traversing mechanism and all that, everything has to be taken apart and cleaned and then reassembled. And then eventually it'll be taken apart again, which is what the hoist is for, because these things are so heavy that they're really difficult to move around depending upon how much of you want to take apart at any one moment in time. But yeah, it has to be all clean. And then eventually it'll be broken down for like a final time where I can finish painting it and cleaning it and doing, all the little details to it. And I can put it back together properly and finish some of the things that I want to do. That will come later on. But I do want to rough in, all the various components and make sure that they're able to move and do their thing. And what do I need for it? And how am I going to scheme my way around the problems? Again, if you have a lathe, you can fix a lathe. If you have a lathe and a turret mill press, you could probably make one and a way of casting. But as you have more things like this and kind of more education on it, for me, it's a little premature. This is really hard to do if you don't have all the experience and all of the tools, so you have to figure ways around it. But it's pretty precise. I got to say, it's very close to being probably be able to hold very, very tight tolerances, and enough for what I'm going to be doing with it. But that's a ways off, and I think I have much time to work on it this week. We'll see. I'll squeeze some time in. It's a lot. It's heavy, and it's a little cantankerous. You know, it's 120 years old. Shit's stuck, but there's really no rust or anything really wrong with it. You know, the headstock and all that seems to be working good. There's still some things I need to do to it. I need to finish shimming it properly, but that can come later. The one thing I do want to do to it is I want to put a reversing switch on the motor. There is no brake. So if you're running an automatic operation, you can disconnect the carriage if you drop the half nut lever. But if you're threading, you can't do that. And if you're going in close on, if I'm able to thread at some point in the future, if I'm coming in close to the chuck or whatever into an area where I need to stop the operation, I have to shut the machine off. And there's so much inertia there. There's so much spinning mass. It doesn't slow down right away. It keeps moving. And on these old machines, if you engage the half nut to make a thread, either I'll have to go find and somehow mount a threading dial, or I'm going to have to stop the machine abruptly. And the only way I can think of doing that is putting a motor reversing switch on and using it as a brake, because you cannot disengage the half nut, and otherwise you'll lose your place in the thread operation. And then you have to then pull out the cutting bit and drive it back, and then engage the cutting bit a little bit deeper and turn it on and move it forward, and then brake it, and then electrically brake it, and then you just have to continue these operations manually, and you have to be paying attention, because you could crash the lathe or screw up the part, and you'll have to start all over again. And if you crash the lathe, you'd break it. Right? You'll screw it up bad. So, let's see. Let's see, what is... And he goes, John Rowe, he goes, I'm back breaking in a new computer and sound system tonight. Nice. Let me see where we are. Let me kill this, because I think we're done anyway. Let me see, because I'm getting tired. Hold on, I got to move this. Where's my pop-out chat? How does that work? Can I move it here? Yeah, I could move it there. Can you put it back? I don't think I've ever done that. Let's see, this is the stream window. How do you... X amount of timestamps or distance. Yeah, I don't think you can. Oh, I don't know. Let's see, bro. He goes, Darwin says hi, guys. That's so funny. Wait, where are we? Let's see, chat rate. Still got a couple people left. Current view is 8. And we're over a little over 2 hours. So, yeah, I'm going to call it. That's enough. That's long for me. But anyway, thanks, fellas, for stopping in. Mick's all this, Mick. Yo, me old mulcher. Say hi to Mick and say goodbye to Mick. We're a little over 2 hours. That's long enough. I've been doing, when I was doing the lives, I was kind of holding it to about an hour and a half. Which is good. Let's see. Oh, I can click the restore chat. Let's see. Let me refresh this. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this one thing real quick. Yeah. Let me pull this over to this window. So it's looking at, to do all of this work. Right, monitor. I've been looking at a couple of different, because my friend Robert said to me, well, why don't you get one of these multi-process machines? Because I have a nice MIG welder. And I do need, he goes, or a 7-hour live. Yeah, I will. We'll have to do something like that again. Robert goes, Arch, if you aren't live streaming, you have more time for YouTube content. Yeah, I'll get back to the YouTube content. But to cut all of this heavy metal and do all of these projects, because when I made that lift table, and I didn't show that, but you can see it, but I didn't show what I was referring to about how I welded. My video's up. It does well. Somebody actually just watched it again recently and commented. But I had welded, or brazed, I should say. It actually was able to braze to a piece of cast, and it works fine. But all of these cutting and welding operations, they're really hard to do it fast and to do it accurate and to do it repeatably accurate. And I got a lot of messing around to do, plus other projects and stuff for people. And if you want to charge, right, you have to be accurate and do the reproducibility where you can reproduce. Because like on the work table that I made, it's not just making one part, it's making it 4 times for this side, 2 times for the other side, or what have you, right? Multiple. One guy just asked me if I could make him a lift rod for the Sunstar. And I'm like, I don't really want to say yes because it's hard to do without all of the tools that I really need. Now, I can't afford all of them, but I'm like, geez, I'm looking at this guy. And one of the reasons why I think Home Depot sells this product as well. You have your Yes Welders and what have you. The Yes Welders have more features, but their warranty is 1 year, and it's 1 year Amazon. You can't even get to their website. They just, no, you have to refer to this. They tell you, go to the seller. What's their warranty? It's 1 year through Amazon. So basically everything you get through Amazon has got your 30-day money back, whatever. But a complicated welding package with digital screens and everything. I'm like, oh, no, this company... They have their own website. They have an operation here in the United States. They're like, call us if you need anything. 3-year warranty. It has almost all the things that I would like to do. It has they call it the Prime Weld Pilot Arc 50 amp plasma cutter with the 200 amp TIG and stick welder combo. Multi-purpose machine, so it can cut. It'll go up. I have 240 volts here, so it'll cut up to 1/2 inch. It will TIG and stick up to those levels, and it's their pilot. Everything is Pilot Arc, and which is nice. I kind of like that. Let me come back real fast. Let me shut that off. So some of the cheaper TIGs are basically what they call lift arc. So you don't really want that. That's no good. TIG welders can range in price to the moon. But just to get started on one, a lot of them is what they call this sort of a drag arc. Like you have to touch that a tungsten electrode to the work and then lift it, and the arc will start. But you can contaminate the tungsten as soon as you do that. You got to take it out and regrind it. And if you want to be precise and instead of having this whip of an arc that you have to drag across a piece to get to where you want to start welding, no, this one's Pilot. So the S-Weld actually had one where you could press the button and it'll pulse arc. It'll pulse. And that's good for really thin stuff. This doesn't have that. But this is basically you can strike the arc right away. With the plasma cutter, you press the button or you pull the trigger. It already starts the plasma going, and then you start cutting. With the TIG, it's basically the same thing. And it comes with the foot switch port. You have to buy the foot switch separately. So if you really want to dial in either your plasma cut or your TIG, you can really dial it in. And there are advantages to that. And it's nice using, for heavier material, it's nice using a stick. Because the stick today, it's not like when I first started. I mean, they had some nice rods back in the day, but now you can stick aluminum. The composition of the stuff that they have available, even just for a stick welder today, is unbelievable. But you need current. And I have it. And for the bigger stuff, even on some of the lawnmower repairs, I'm like, Mike, I was talking to Big Mike, I'm like, I really want, the gas is really expensive for my welder. Really expensive. And when you're buying gas and you're buying another spool, it's like $300, and that was a few years ago. I don't even know what it is now. Some of the states here, it's retardedly expensive for gas. So for a lot of these lawnmower repairs, it's either a nice flux core stick, with the proper stick for the job because it's rusty lawnmower shit, or it's a flux core welder. And yeah, it splatters, whatever, but who cares? You're fixing a lawnmower. Now, for some of those big brackets that I was showing, or for a modification in 1/2 inch for like Mike or somebody else, you'd want stick, because once you bevel it, if you're beveling it, you have a lot of fill. You have to fill a lot. You're going to do that with an 1/8 inch rod, flux coated stick welder, because it's going to fill. You try to do that with my machine at 125 amps with a 30,000, filler, you're back and forth and back and forth. Meanwhile, you're blowing gas to the wind. That's really expensive. So you kind of need stuff if you're going to get into this a little bit deeper. And that's where I'm at. So I've been setting the garage up to do a lot more of this welding, cutting, grinding, stuff that I used to do in the past wherever. I don't want to do it in here anymore. If I can avoid it. I have that other room. I don't want to just use it as storage. I kicked the Nova out and sold it. And since then, I've been trashing that room and throwing junk in it. I keep some of the stuff that I'm working on, them staging or what have you. Yeah, for projects. That's fine. Okay. But I want to really level up and game up. And I talk about this a lot on my channel, whatever. And, what can you do, whether you're starting out new or you're kind of going down the road. Now, one of these, I forget which one of you mentioned about playing with, I'll get you out of here on this. Playing around with, he went through 3 weed whackers. And people have asked me, now, Contractor Mike, he was trying to get me to work on his weed whackers. I said, finally, I just I don't know, maybe I'm not doing it anytime right now. I've got other projects going on. I'm not dealing with that. He said he wanted me to fix them. He was like, I'll pay you by the hour. I'll pay you by several hours. And I'm thinking about, I don't work like that, Mike. That's not what I do. I've done this with him before, and everything he touches, I said, don't throw out the original carburetors on anything. Mike, you want me to fix that? Yeah, can you fix this for me? Where's the original carburetor? I threw it out. He does not listen. And then he tries to put an aftermarket carburetor. It's missing gaskets. He's stripping bolts. He's just... And I'm like, Mike, no, I'm not. You're not bringing over a bunch of your Husqvarna crappy weed whackers that you and the boys have beat the crap out of. Then you threw out the original parts. It's all half apart, half together. Gaskets are missing. Bolts are laying in boxes and in spackle buckets with water. I'm like, you beat the crap out of me. Do you think I really are looking forward to it? I don't care what you pay me. I'm not looking forward to any day fooling around. And I've showed him this. I'm like, just because, even if the compression's 110, there could be leaks on the one of the seals or whatever on one end of the shaft. It won't start. It won't run right. It won't idle, which is why you were fooling around with it. It's garbage. Take the shit. I'm like, here's an idea. Why don't you put it all on a table, take some photographs of it, put it up on Marketplace, and sell it as a lot. And then let somebody that's trying to learn how to do this, let them stumble down that fucking horrible highway for a little while, and let them screw with that and waste their time. And the best I could make is maybe $50, right, on one of those things. What are you going to charge somebody to fix that? $50 for me to start up my shop, get aggravated, 50 per unit, right, to waste half a day of my shop time and my personal time for $50, if I'm lucky, if it runs, and it runs well, if I'm lucky. No, how about no? So one of the other customers just called me up, and he kind of wanted me to work on his, and I didn't realize who he was at first, so he's actually friends of friends, and he's a customer, and he's going to bring over some other stuff. And I said to him, look, you bought it from me, so I know you haven't taken it apart. You did what I told you to do. Even his father told him, run it on the, on the aftermarket fuel, the bottle fuel, right? So he's been bottle feeding it. So he's got a couple of machines that are getting a little, long in the tooth. They're having some issues. They're not running right. This one won't start, the weed whacker. I said, you know what? Bring everything. And because you're bringing everything and I have the others to work on, I can't promise anything with the weed whacker, but I will look at it. And it's a $20 minimum charge, right? And I'll let you know. But it probably will run because you've been doing the right thing. Because one of the guys, I showed you a couple of these videos. He carbon fouled it. He thought putting more oil in would be a good thing. No, he carbon fouled it. Carbon's abrasive. It destroyed the machine. So you can't. He goes, and this guy says to me, he goes, well, I hate to say it. I said, what, electric? I said, don't hate on it. Honestly, for consumers, even for myself, just to blow the shop out, if I can get some money next year, because some of the nicer ones are expensive, a nice little blower and a nice little electric weed whacker, battery operated. The lady will go around. She doesn't mind if it's easy and quick, pop a battery in it, just a quick little maintenance. And if I forget and haven't done it in a while, like I did this year, out comes my still. I said, if you want to buy a still 2-stroke, or maybe even an Echo or an older Echo, go get one of them. But all the other stuff, throw it out. Leave me alone. Go away. All right. I'll see you guys later. I got to get out of here. And wait, let me see what he goes. I'm half inclined to stop doing weed eaters altogether. Yeah, bros. Totally. A lot of us have just stopped. Bravo goes, he goes, you know what's weird? I can stick weld all day and it looks great. My MIG welding looks like 2-year-old's artwork. Well, the MIG with the gas, everything has got to be right and justified. Clean, nice, sweet, and you got to clean in between. And one of the problems I do have is I can get might want to get a spool gun for that thing, but my regulator is fixed, and I've been wanting to get rid of that for years. Because if you're in a windy shop or your garage and the doors are open or outside, you have to be able to pump up that regulator. To get that shielding gas to embrace and envelop the work area and keep that tip close, not too close, but you're going to have to go even closer. If you want to back off a little bit, like my welder is not putting out enough, and I need a bigger bottle. So I need stuff. So that's for the clean and nice and pretty and beautiful. But not everything and a lot of what we do needs to be clean, pretty, and beautiful. Now, to weld some of the pieces that I'm talking about for my lathe that I want to make to adapt that tool post, that is going to be made. I'm going to make it as clean and pretty as, because I'll be working in the steel it'll lay over it like a hat and it'll screw in. And the pieces that I need to weld, I want them welded properly with my MIG welder, right? With the gas on. Everything will be clean. But some of this other stuff can be stick. It can be whatever. And the TIG, I could probably even get away with the TIG, but I don't have the money to finish setting up the TIG yet because I need a big bottle of gas. If I buy this machine, I'll be broke. And I don't think I'll be able to buy a big bottle of gas. Or even a smaller bottle of gas. Because what is that? Argon. It's like pure. But then, I've done some work with aluminum with the torch, but if you get too hot, the whole piece disappears. Literally, just disappears. Right? You got it clamped up, and you're like, oh, I just need a little bit. Oh, it's going good. Then all of a sudden, you cross over that temperature point, and it's like, what happened? Where did it all go? It just melts away. It just disappears. So, spool gun or TIG and aluminum on the cheaper machines is hard. You may not be able to do it. TIG is a whole another thing, another operation when it comes to TIG and aluminum. Even the cheaper machines are like $1,000. You need a lot of adjustability and variability, and you need a lot of practice. Although you could take steel and things like that with a machine like I just showed you. Yeah, if you're doing body work and you don't want a lot of warpage, you don't want a lot of grinding, yeah, you could pull that off a little bit of practice. For sure. And stainless, right? Because I have a nice big piece of stainless that I was thinking about. It's like a stainless door, like a NEMA rated cabinet door. And I'm like, well, I might want to put it underneath the lathe because that's an old school lathe. The shit's going to fall down and fly all over the place. I need to make something to capture all of that at the very least. And I have a nice piece of stainless. So I have options with this machine. I can also put, some of the modern stainless spool in my other gun. And I can run my mix of CO2 and argon. It doesn't come out as pretty, but it won't matter. I'm going to grind it and polish it or we'll just leave it. You're not going to see it. As long as it affixes it properly, it doesn't have to be pretty. You could TIG it, okay? But then you need the gas, right? And that's getting expensive. But to do something nice, I think this machine will pull it off. And it's reasonably priced. They have a cheaper machine that doesn't do as many options. This won't cover everything I need. But I think the cheaper machine, it doesn't have the oomph. And it's this, but at least this has a 3-year warranty. And it doesn't have all of the crazy electronics with those crazy readout displays. It's got an LED style indicator to give you your numerical values, a twist knob, and some switches, and a 3-year warranty. And I'm like, the heck with Yes Welder. You've loaded up so much stuff and everything's dependent. And I don't need to connect my iPhone to my welder. Oh my God. Leave me alone. Yeah. But I know what you're saying, Johnny. And yeah, Brett, I don't know. It's at the point now it's not worth it. And then Johnny says, hey, Arch, what do those purple birthday cake looking things? I don't know. Everybody asks that. I don't know. I got to look into that. They've been changing stuff on YouTube lately. They came out with some new stuff too. And I got to talk to Ken too. I'll have to call him up because he can take some of his live shows now And if he just does a little bit of editing, he can put them up on podcast. And it sets up differently on YouTube. And YouTube now has a thing with the podcast where on a cell phone, so let's say he cuts up his live show and takes the best of. Cuts it up, makes a video out of it, but you load it up to the podcast section. Now it's been shortened, so maybe you want a 2-hour show, maybe make it half hour. And YouTube now has a thing where when you go to the live podcast channel, or they embed it with YouTube Music, that's where they're putting it. You want to watch a podcast, if you're, let's say, if you're not in your car and you can watch it, there's a selector up on the top, video or audio only. So let's say you want to watch it, you can see everybody. But you get in your car and you're like, it's on my phone, I got to go here, let me keep watching or listening. You just switch it over to audio only. That's under the podcast tab. And it's a different, like slightly different market and presentation, and they're putting it with the YouTube Music as well. So you can have your live version if you want to keep it, and you can have your podcast version, which is only, that's really what podcasts were. They're audio. And they still are, but they give you this. I don't know about the other social media content providers. They have their own little thing and where they put it. That's more work, that's more marketing, but it can really boost your channel. It can also deliver content in a way that people want to consume it. Honestly, I used to watch Mix Live in the shop working, but mostly it was listening. And then when I wanted to run over and say something stupid on the text window, I could, which is still what I do with Ken's. So I haven't been in the shop as much lately with Duran, but he hasn't even been doing it as much. Well, because it's the summer and we're all really busy. But I miss it. Like, I enjoy being in the shop and having that on. And, sometimes I have to rewind it, or maybe I'll catch something the next day or whatever later on. And I can be in here. I don't actually have to see it. I could be running it on just the podcast tab. I was doing that when I was working in a basement this winter. I spent a month in the basement, fixing and wiring and everything. I just brought this with me, but I wasn't watching anything. I was just kind of, as long as I got connection to my router and everything, I'm like, well, just leave it over here in the corner. I can hear it. But but that's podcast. Like, if it's a video, it's like, I can't do that. Almost everything with me is like, look, fellas, we're going to join this. We're going to bolt this on here. No, you need to be watching. I mean, I can't even get people to watch it to begin with. They're going to just listen to me. But Ken's show, his live show, is set up for that. Like, it's set up for listening. So, yeah. Brett goes, let's see. Brett goes, I haven't been to a live for Ken in a while. Yeah, he also hasn't been doing them. But again, we're all busy. And Bravo goes, shit, my new computer wants to talk to my cell phone, the new 50-inch monitor, and my Ring doorbell, and my refrigerator. And yes, there was a good story. I will get you out of here on this. There was a good story. And this is a little while back, and I think a lot of us heard about it. There was a guy, he got locked out of his house, right? He had everything connected that way to Alexa, whatever it all is. And what had happened was he had, back a few years ago with any slur or anything, they were censoring the crap out of us, no freedom of speech, all this crap. So if you said something wrong on YouTube or whatever, they would ban you or give you a strike, right? Well, Alexa, whatever it was, the Ring doorbell, overheard an inappropriate comment to a delivery person and shut him down. And he had to go off to work or do whatever, and he came home and he couldn't, the garage door wouldn't open. The door in the front, nothing would work. When he finally got in, he couldn't turn the lights on. All the power was out. Like, he had this house rigged. He couldn't cook his food. He couldn't do he couldn't get it. It was just horrible. Like, he couldn't use anything. And they told him why, and they told him what the inappropriate comment was. So this is the problem with fooling around with that technology, because whether you're in England right now or in Canada or wherever the hell you are, they're cracking down on everybody because they only want you to do what they want you to do. And it's freedom of speech until they don't like your speech. and then they shut your crap off. And I've said this for years. Like, I would be talking to some of my gaming friends. I'm like, you wait, right? Let me show you something. I'm like, let's talk about tampons and vaginas and all of this stuff. And I guarantee you the next day you will see ads for Kotex, whatever. And they came back at me later on. They're like, holy shit, bro, you're right. I saw, even on my Facebook, all of a sudden I started getting ads for feminine hygiene products. I said, I told you, right? It's not good all the time to have all this stuff. I like technology. I'm a big techno fan, but we live in a weird world right now. It's just weird. And maybe it'll get better. Maybe it'll get worse. I don't know, right? I don't have a crystal ball. I have Alexa. No, I don't have any of that shit. I won't use it. I don't even talk to this phone. I have it do, it doesn't look at my face, right? I don't know. No, I don't know. Why would you want to look at this face, right? That's why I have a face for radio, right? I have a face for radio and a voice for what is it? I forget what it is. Face for radio and a voice for print. Yes, that's what it is. John Roy goes, there was a great TV show called Next that went into AI taking over. It's here, Skynet. It is here, right? They always have to tell you, I say this for years, this goes back thousands of years, really, but they have to tell you what they're going to do. They don't have to come out and say it and lay it out, but it's something to do with their morality, right? These so-called elites. It's karma. If they can tell you kind of what they're going to do, even if it's shoving the big red, white, and blue dick up your ass, right? As long as you agree to it or don't disagree to it, because your ignorance is your problem, is how they feel. If you're too lazy and too stupid to find out what the hell's really going on, well, then you deserve what we give to you, and that you'd be happy. And if you do know and you don't say anything or look the other way or avoid it, well, then you're an idiot, and then you deserve whatever the hell it is we're going to. That's their mentality. But if we tell you and you're not paying attention and you don't look any deeper, then you deserve what the hell we're going to. This is their mentality. And if they can get you to agree to it, the road to hell, right, is paved with all of this success and everything nice until at the end, you're in hell. But you agreed to it, or you didn't disagree it, right? It's bizarre. It was Jamie O. Yeah, Jamie O goes, most people are clueless. Yes, right? And in defense of people that are clueless, hold on. I keep saying I'm going to get you out of here on this. In my world, right, you say, well, people are clueless. Honestly, not for nothing, I spend a lot of time trying to figure out what's going on in the world. Since I was very young, I study all this stuff. I put a lot of time into it. It's kind of a hobby. But honestly, that's my thing. Why should we have to constantly be watching over our shoulder for Big Brother or Big Sister or whatever the hell's going on? Most of us honestly just want to go cut the grass, go to work, make something nice to eat, hang out with the lady or the guy or the husband or the female, I don't know, whatever, have some cats, have some dogs. Why should we be constantly assaulted by these a-holes, right, that for some weird reason they're into screwing with us and trying to kill us off and make us sick and then make money on us with like Big Pharma and everything, or all this garbage food and the crappy cigarettes, because these are the good ones. These don't have all those chemicals in it. Not that they're good for you, but they're at least not going to kill you right away. Like, why should we have to know what that's one messed up scenario, that we can't just live our lives without being pestered and bothered by other human beings that are complete a-holes. Seriously, like, why should we really have to know? We should be clueless. Like, why should we have to know everything? That's just stupid. Why can't you just go fishing, and out on a boat without having something spraying over your head or some company dumping shit into the waterway? Like, I just want to go fishing. I don't want to know anything else, Jamie goes, I believe if you took a poll of most Americans, they could not tell you who is the president. I know, right? Yeah. They couldn't tell you what the Bill of Rights is or anything else. They really don't know. I see those polls sometimes. They do the street walk and they ask people what's this and what's that. No, they don't know. And a lot of that's our school systems have turned to crap. Right? I had really good teachers. I had some good schools and stuff that I went to and all kinds of stuff. Right? Education that I took and got handed to me at the job that I took advantage of or whatever. Some teachers were bad, but there was only a handful of them. In my day, today it's different. and in my little area, right, in my little private Idaho. That wasn't true even in my day everywhere. It was, there were plenty of crap areas, and there were areas that were better than mine. And I took advantage of it. I still hear the echoes of Mrs. Mancini and others going, Motormouth, is that you back there? Zip it. Pay attention, Motormouth. Well, pay attention, right? And everyone would say, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. Eventually, I learned that, I should be paying attention to things. And I learned from my elders and my teachers and friends, and then I kept studying on my own, right? I had older brothers and sister. I read all their college books by the time I was in 5th grade. I went to a nuclear reactor with my sister for a college thing. And that professor spent more time with me than them because they really, I don't think they even wanted to be there, but I knew a lot about, he asked one of the things like, what's the most radioactive thing in this room? Was standing on top of a reactor that's just sitting there. You could see the blue. And then everybody's pointing down. And I went, nope, right over here. I was pointed to the wall, right? Because the brick, we were in the basement. It's all block and concrete. I said, no, that's more radioactive. Boy, I had his attention from then on. He didn't want to be bothered with the college kids. He's trying to figure out how this grade school kid knew all this kind of stuff. I'm like, because I read about it. And so we had a nice conversation. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that trip. I don't think the other ones did, but I read about it. I just got it from a book. I read the books and I studied the stuff and I was interested in it. That's why I say if you just pay attention, put a little effort in, or maybe level up a little bit, bring your skill level up a little bit. I don't think my friend Contractor Mike can really level up that way. We've talked about this before. You start off as a handy person. Like maybe you're handy, and then you try and do something. And in this world, if you're mechanically inclined, you start off handy. Then you will know if you're mechanically inclined. He's not. And he's 7 starter motors later. On a GM starter motor, and I said, did you look at the little gear and to see if it was all chewed up? No. I said, did you replace the shim on the starter? No, we didn't think you needed it. So 7 times you went through this, all this cost, all this heart attack. You never once thought to look at that. But you somehow made the determination that the shims don't mean anything, not knowing what they do and never looking at anything. You could be handy and a part swapper, but not maybe even a little mechanically inclined. You can turn a wrench. But at some point, when do you actually become a mechanic? Either you awaken and you study and you try and you learn, or you remain the handy person that maybe can part swap or whatever. Some people can't level up. Some people aren't handy at all. They're like 2 thumbs on the same hand. It's like they're trying to turn a screwdriver with their foot, which would be interesting. There are people that can do that. That reminds me real quick. I'll get you on this. My friend Ray, he had death toes, right? Don't ever be at the pool or the beach with Ray. If Ray grabbed you with his big toe, whatever, and grabbed something, it hurt bad. He could lock on. So, yes, he could turn a fucking screwdriver with his foot. I wonder how he is. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But some people can't do it, and that's okay. You have to find something else to do. Mike keeps trying, but he doesn't see what he's looking at. He doesn't know how to interpret it as being anything. It could just be a block of something. And it doesn't need, carburetors don't need gaskets. And at some point you got to study. And he went to go, I wanted him to put a cable on this one machine, and he went to go do it, and he starts surfing for, right away, how to put a cable on. He wound up looking at one of my videos. I'm like, shut that off, bro. I'm like, let me show you. Oh, my God. One of my videos came up. I'm like, no, let me show you. He tried to do it, and he didn't do it right, and I tried to show him why, and he didn't quite get it because he couldn't understand the pieces that he was looking at and how it fit together. And he did it several times wrong, and he did another machine, and I had to do it for him. And I tried to show him. Maybe he'll get it, maybe he won't. Personally, I think he smokes too much pot. I mean, I don't mind this stuff, but if you do it all the time, it's already been proven, it's already been shown that it reduces, well, one of the things it does, the simplest one, is it reduces blood flow to the brain. So anytime you suffocate your brain, you're killing your brain cells, which ultimately, you know what that means? That you're getting stupider, but you wouldn't know you're getting stupider because you've gotten stupid. It's a conundrum. If you get too stupid, or if you burn out your brain with alcohol or other drugs, you won't know you're stupid. and you'll argue with people saying that, no, I'm not. Oh, and you won't even know. I'll see you guys later. All right, I'm done.